furnace because all gates lead to a furnace. They don't go any deeper. It's kind of the rule. And but we don't have to use it. We have options. I don't know what those options are, but we don't.
Are there any gift ships around?
Are there any gift ships?
Yes.
Not yet, but if we wait a little bit, man, not very well, but a little bit. If we wait long enough, then Baldur's Gate 3 suggests that there will be gift ships coming, or at least gift dragons and illithid ships. So
that's only a few hundred years from now. Let's just wait around.
We'll wait. Just retire the entire party right now so our grandchildren can play Baldur's Gate 3.
If we don't manage to get a gift ship on the way, we'll steal one on the way back.
It's everybody's duty to sire a child before we leave town.
Already done. Wait, what? Lots of light blue babies running around Baldur's Gate. Let's do it.
That's it.
Let's make more half drow.
That's it.
Oh.
Can you hear me better now?
Oh, absolutely.
What
You
the
sound like you've got like a vocoder on. That was like a fucking choir pedal or some shit.
Calm down, Optimus Prime.
Can you hear me better? I didn't mean to turn on my effects.
Yeah, you had a modulator on. I am so happy I got that in the recording.
Do you hear me better now, though?
Yeah.
That was like really gay robot kind of vibe. Like,
Yeah. But I'm not gonna do that. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with my computer. I'm just having horrible sound fucking issues lately.
It might have the coronavirus.
Might.
It might.
Has it been to any gaming conventions or hockey games or anything like that recently?
No, I
You've
don't
been
leave
using
my
any
house.
Chinese internet?
If it has it, I'm told paper. Never mind. I messed up the joke.
We're gonna stop there.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm
You tried.
The paper of toilets.
Indeed. And
I still to this day have not understood what's going on with that, but
I don't either.
Yeah, none of the symptoms are shitting, so I don't understand why toilet.
herd mentality. If you were a lemming,
mean-
you'd jump off the cliff too.
yeah, I get why, I just don't get why. Like, everyone's hoarding toilet paper, like, oh yeah, we don't want to run out because of shortages and stuff, and like, oh, we don't want to have to go into the supermarket and deal with other people. And it's like, then why are you dickheads only buying toilet paper? If you run out of food, you're not gonna fucking need it.
No, see, I hear it's very fibrous, right? So surely these people are like, oh, a lot of sustenance here in the toilet paper. 3 ply, a lot of fiber. Seriously, that motherfucking cool. I don't get it either. It's ridiculous.
Like they've got signs up in the supermarket now, so you can only take 1 packet per person. And when I was in there grabbing some food Friday afternoon, I saw, and not just one person, but like there's people in there. There's one particular woman I took notice of. She's got like 4 kids in her with her, and she's giving them money so they can all go through the register separately to buy 1 pack of toilet paper.
I'm a genius.
Go, my little minions, go.
It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, woman?
I knew there was a reason that I had more children. I knew the day would come when I appreciated their existence.
Hey, that's not true. At least here they benefit from welfare too when you have more. cheaper on taxes, all that stuff.
It's a win-win scenario.
Yeah, Sprint sent out a mass letter to all of us salesmen, and they're just like, yeah, don't shake anyone's hands. If anything, you can bump elbows with customers, but don't touch their hands. And I'm just like, okay.
Give like pelvic thrusts of appreciation.
Don't give him ideas.
I already do that, though.
Yeah, no, everyone's fucking panicking over this shit. It's not gonna go away anytime soon either.
No, not for the rest of the year by the look of it. I'm a bit concerned. I fear that borders might be closed, and yeah, I'm making decisions over the next couple of weeks whether I'm staying here or going back to Australia.
You're an Australian resident, hey?
I'm an Australian resident. That's right.
I think, what is it, at the moment they'll let you in, but you got to self-quarantine for 2 weeks? I think that's what they've said.
Yeah, what they've said at the moment is that they're talking about shutting down travel, so that anyone that's not an Australian resident just flat out will not be able to enter the country. But if you are an Australian resident, you'll come through, but they'll force you to quarantine yourself for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm kind
Right,
of...
so I don't have to go to Christmas Island.
Well, I don't know about like that, because
It's more likely that they'll get your address. They might send someone to check on you. They'll tell you not to leave home for
like
2 weeks.
my mum's abroad.
yeah,
She's in
anyway.
Egypt at the moment, and
Oh, yeah.
she's coming back. I think in like 4 days. I think
Right.
at the moment she's allowed back in, but yeah, she has to stay home pretty much.
I don't even know if I'd get a flight anyway. Like
Yeah.
I've looked, I just started looking yesterday, and like I don't think there are any. So like,
Yeah, that might be your trouble, especially if you're going from a small country in Asia. You won't find any direct flights. You'd have to go to somewhere else, and then
yeah,
through to
and
Australia.
the capital here is shut, so I can't go through the capital. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I've got the option to leave at this stage.
I hear there's a portal opening in Australia in 3 days.
Apparently.
Are you in a remote town over there, or?
It's not really, but it's not the capital, and like a lot of these countries, like this one, for example, the capital and everywhere else are kind of like two peas to a pod. Like the capital is so big and central to everything that if you're not in the capital, then you're by default in the province. So it's a big city here. I mean, relatively big. It's not that big, but it's the fourth biggest city in the country.
So it's not necessarily remote enough that you can just ride it out without any chance of getting sick.
Oh no, absolutely not. I live next door to 2 shopping centres.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess I got to make some decisions over the next couple of days.
Yeah. Well, the upside is, other than Sash and Christina both seem to be sick and having their own problems at the moment, all the other D&D games I've played this week, everyone's been present because no one wants to leave the house.
Yeah, sure of it. Shares in Arctic are going up, that's for sure, during coronavirus.
Where do I invest?
That's right. Yeah, no, but like it's all jokes aside, like the Roll20 channels are going kind of nuts because everyone's like, "Fuck, D&D's been cancelled." Like, fuck.
Oh, have you seen the number of Reddit posts about people asking about Roll20 because they don't want to do their games in person anymore? Roll20 is
Sort of.
booming right now.
Yeah, basically, yeah. There's
because there's all these groups that are like, we don't want to meet up in person anymore, so let's start playing online, and they're moving over to Roll20.
Is that big Fantasy Grounds update still is maybe Fantasy Grounds 2 or whatever? I don't know what the fuck is that still in beta or some shit? You guys know what I'm talking about, or am I talking on my ass right now?
I know what it is. I think it was a Kickstarter, because that's Fantasy Grounds Unity.
Yeah, that one.
I'm not sure. Hang on, let me see if they got an update on the Kickstarter.
I played on Fantasy Grounds like original before, and I hated it compared to Roll20. But I've heard and read things about the Unity one. It sounds pretty cool if they
I
ever
heard
get
they
it
got a
going.
shit group finder.
They do.
I
They
don't
have a
doubt it.
really shitty group finder.
Which is hard to fuck up because all you need to do is just make a search engine and or like a decent form.
Okay, apparently, yeah, it's not released yet, but it's soon, apparently. I was interested in that when the Kickstarter started, but they kind of just faded out. Haven't been doing a whole lot of it recently.
All right. So yeah, Sash almost certainly won't be here, and Christina definitely won't. So let us commence our story in the fair city of Baldur's Gate, where no ill was ever done to anyone.
Can I roll insight?
All right. The narrator is lying. "3 days pass." I guess. You sit around, like looking at the decor for 3 days. All right, we're done. Let's go.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate is in freefall. There are refugees pouring in from Elturel. There are the Flaming Fist is a terribly oppressive hand right now. Trade has not quite ground to a halt, but it's certainly suffering in a severe way. It's only a matter of time before the Githyank can turn up. I've seen it on the internet.
Yeah, 300 years we can get another crack at getting one of those ships.
We just gotta go find some mind flayers somewhere. I'm sure they'll show up.
Yeah, just gotta let them take over a couple city blocks. They'll come running.
So, just to refresh my memory, Arctic, was there any kind of preparedness that needed to be done on our end, or is it just kind of like the moon and stars aligned and then the portal opened?
I think the second. I'm not sure we got all the details, but it sounded like it was, as you suggest, a constellation alignment occurs, and no one can stop it.
We just ended in his bathroom after we murdered him, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So we don't know if there's other people in the house.
We've killed a few of them. We skipped over it. We didn't like do it narratively, but I assumed if you came across, some soldiers, you dispatched of them, household guards, cultists, and they were really no challenge. Like honestly, their sergeant was challenge rating 3, and so whatever.
Look, we're running out of a level 3 adventure right now. Let's just assume we could access the final boss.
Exactly.
So, did we get where the opening is going to happen?
Yeah, I think it's here in the within either this very room or there's certainly this building. There's an archway. You managed to find it, a bronze arch that's burnished with soot and has various nasty little symbols like peepees and people doing it with devils, getting it on. It's all very raunchy.
Right. So, guess we got a couple options here. We could just sit on this place until the gate to hell opens, try to get through and make our way from there. We could go let the Flaming Fists know that a gate to hell is about to open in their city, so they can kind of, make sure their legions are there to meet Hell's legions.
Pretty sure the Flaming Fist, at least to our knowledge, were on their way to follow up to this house. Like, the deal was we were going to come through and do our thing, and they were going to come through and do their thing, and then take credit for it.
Yep.
And, yeah. So we probably won't have to go anywhere.
We should
That's the objective.
probably let them know to evacuate the block, given that a portal is going to open. Maybe even the whole high city, but I don't see that being a particularly easy logistical feat.
Well,
do we have any business
anybody's
to attend to
anybody at
over the 3 days?
I do not. Well, yeah, no.
Just gonna make a note of retrieving my transmuter stone from Zevram too. I think he had it last, so I'm just gonna take that back if that's alright.
Roger that.
Perfect.
All right. Everything is somewhere between 50% and sorry, I'm loading a page.
Had you guys met the captain, colonel,
Zodge?
the chick, Flaming? No, the one above him.
The commander, no, I don't think so. The first time we met her was when our last session.
Gotcha.
Is there some sort of a like a library or archive in this manor that the Castellantis were sitting in? I want to spend some time going through any paperwork, relevant documentation, anything like that they might be here to clue us in. Names of other cardinals, perhaps, like a teledex, an address book. I don't know, anything like that.
Any magical preparations? Do we have any anti-demon fiend spells from the wizards? I don't know. Magical circles?
Yeah, I have a trio of scrolls for Magic Circle, and I think Lucius has the spell itself.
Yeah, I've got the spell and a number of components.
I think we have a variety of amulets of protection as well, which will come in
I
handy.
can do hallucinatory terrain? Question mark? I don't know if that's really necessary. It seems kind of excessive.
To what effect? What for? If it'll help, there's no.
I mean, you might be able to, make them think one thing where, something else is really there. Like, I don't know, like a pit, some kind of trap there, or lack thereof. Make them think they can't go one way when they can.
I see no harm in it. Any preparation.
But beyond that, that's about the only thing I can really offer for prep.
We could, Lucius, we could rig that room with some glyphs of warding.
Yeah, but glyphs are expensive and we have no idea what we're up against. I'd prefer to just Magic Circle or a Sanctum, or perhaps Aldrich could cast Hallow.
I keep forgetting we have like a 7th level priest 7th level spell priest. No, that's
Pretty
very
handy.
nice.
All right. Well, the Flaming Fist are inevitably going to turn up, and when they do, they make a big show of kicking in the door, and they're pretty taken back by the grandeur, the luxury of the area. On one hand, it is a noble quarters, so I suppose they should be expecting wealth. But on the other hand, the decadence is in distinct contrast to the hovels and dungeons and sewers that they've usually found these cultists lurking around in. Brass and bronze, gold and silver, obsidian. This place is decked out with the sort of niceties that a couple of police officers could help themselves to with a great deal of leisure. And so they're doing it. They don't look much better than common, rapacious thieves as they strip the values from this place and basically take everything that it isn't nailed down.
Sounds about
Hey,
right.
that's our job. Kiviak joins in the looting.
Excellent. You managed to get some, maybe roll 1d1000 just to see the total value of your junk. Alright. You've got like little jade statuettes and maybe a silver mirror and a nice horse skin bag that's been sewed by hand, a replica holy symbol of Lathander that secretly has people doing it with devils on the rear end.
On the devil's rear end or the back of the token?
Oh, you know it.
Both.
All of the above. Yeah. So we thoroughly loot the place along with the Flaming Fist. Baldur's Gate keeps burning, and the world keeps turning. It's really nothing new. Just another dead cult leader lying in his bathtub.
Usually how these things go.
It's the noir city of Faerun. Broad came into my office today. Found her boss in a bathtub.
About half the population is employed as private detectives.
That's right. Massive turnover because most of the first level detectives die to like fireballs. This dungeon's too high for a first level operator. Oh well.
Do we have anyone that we need to contact? Perhaps via a sending spell? Before we take off.
I can't think of anybody. You can maybe. I don't. Is that limited to this plane?
It's not, but there is a chance the spell fails. I think it's
You
like
could maybe
5%
try.
chance.
5%.
You could try the Grand Duke or whatever, and the city, and see like what's up. I don't know if you guys care about.
Not a bad idea. I think I will try and cast sending. I'll target the Grand Duke here of the companions. I think it was the companions. Yeah.
You mean Older Raven Guard?
I think so. Yes.
He's the commander of the Flaming
Not
Fist.
so. Yeah. Sorry. I mean to say the. Actually, no. He'll do. Yeah. Good call. So I think it's a 5% chance. So.
Just don't roll in that one.
I will say greetings, Sanchia, blue fellow, slick skin, what's the situation? Expect to arrive soon.
I shall roll secretly the
Oh.
5% chance.
Okay, no worries.
Alright. It would appear that your message has gotten through. Situation is dire. The city just keeps falling, and now there are none to defend it. I fear that the end may be upon us. The fate of the Greed Resolute is about to begin.
Ominous.
Elthrill is out of time. Alright. I think over the course of the 3 days as well, I'll just cast like a first level transmutation spell to change the property of the stone that I've got.
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
A day passes. And a second day. And on the third day, the portal opens.
We'll say within 24 hours of the portal opening, to our knowledge, I will do hallucinatory terrain in the area around the portal, and to keep it simple, I'll make it appear like they're in the middle of the room, I guess, that it's in. There's like a 15 feet wide, passable, just normal train, whatever it would normally look like, and the rest of it that I can cover in the 150 feet cube will just be like sheer impassable rock.
Alright.
Beyond that, I'm doing nothing.
Brilliant. We've laid down a magic circle, as I recall.
I think probably getting Eldridge to cast Hallow would just be far more effective, since Magic Circle can trap fiends, but Hallow will simply prevent them from entering, which would make any fiend trying to come through the door fail.
Alright.
Do you want me to cast that now or wait?
Well, it's an until dispelled thing, so once it's put down, it's permanent. That said, I think it has a component cost. Let me have a look.
Herbs, oils, and incense worth 1,000 gold, which the spell consume.
Yeah, we can do that.
Unless you have the incense worth 1,000 gold, it'll currently cost you 2,000 gold. Inflation.
Well then, on
Everybody's-
3 days, I will
everybody's bought up all the
teleport to
sacred
Waterdeep and teleport back.
Alright, if that works, you save yourself a lot of money.
Wizards.
The sacred toilet unguents are being bought out en masse by a panicked crowd.
Anything I can think of for prep is just buy some more bolts, make sure I've got plenty of ammunition.
Excellent. Alright. You wait and wait all day, and you're beginning to wonder if the portal's going to ever open at all. And of course, it opens at midnight, because of course it does. So at midnight on the third day, or midnight on the fourth day, depending on your perspective, the portal opens. But you don't see beyond some blasted, fiery hellscape with blackened, broken rock and legions of undying, hellish warriors ready to pour through. No. You don't see that at all. What you see is a scene of luxury. There are large pillows and silk sheets. There is crystalware and silverware, and there are scrumptious feasts being served up to delighted patrons on tables made of ebony and ivory, gilt with silver and gold. The entire place appears to be inside some kind of giant tent. The walls move in the same way as a tent moves, but it's more like a marquee perhaps, or even a circus top. The size of this domicile is incredible. The other patrons appear to be inhuman. There is a creature that might be a centaur, except it has horns. There is a tall, stony-faced individual with bright white wings that might be an angel. And that individual is currently in meal and negotiation with some hideous creature that has a bat-like head and curling horns, blood-red skin, and tremendously long curled claws. And all around you can see highly competent, well-mannered, well-dressed servants tending to the whims of these esteemed guests.
Do any seem to be looking towards the portal, or
One of
any
them
kind of
does
knowledge that?
Yeah, one of the guests does, looks towards the portal, gives a brief nod, or even a bow, and then continues about their business of carrying trays. So the existence of the portal is acknowledged, but no move is made to either secure it, or come through it, or even have their meals disturbed by it.
This is not what I expected when I thought of a portal to hell. Anyone else?
True, I was expecting more fire.
Does this change our plans any?
It's not like we necessarily knew what to expect in the first place.
True, and there are many aspects of sin.
Fair enough. Who's first?
So the portal is open and we're
I'll
about
step
to.
through first, why not?
I'll go second.
I will
Ooh,
follow
ooh,
third.
third.
Oh, okay, fourth.
Yeah.
I will go fifth.
I don't think I need to mention that Lucius is going last.
Sorry, just to clarify, the portal is open. We're about to step through. Is that right?
To our understanding, I believe, yes.
Okay, cool. If possible, I'll begin concentration on telekinesis.
Perhaps we should tell Sanj what we see.
It's more like a party, like a luxurious villa party with servants and shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Yeah, they seem to acknowledge that we're here, but they
They don't
like
give
haven't
a
done
fuck.
anything about it.
Oh,
It looks like a very fancy and exotic restaurant with equally exotic patrons.
okay. I probably wouldn't cast telekinesis then.
You step into a domicile that is filled with aromas that set you on delight immediately. It's a large establishment, probably best compared to the big top of a large circus. And there are dining tables here and there, many of them unoccupied, but several of them are occupied by grand and mythical beings of incredible power, and also a handful of mortals as well, perhaps more mortals than there are actually extraplanar entities, roughly half and half, more or less. There are servants of a variety of races, from the conventional, such as humans and centaurs, to stranger things like modrons and aarakocra, imps as well, no shortage of imps. And they all seem to be doing their utmost to make sure that these patrons have the absolute grandest delight that they could possibly experience. Can any of you read Infernal?
I cannot.
Uh, nope. Inferno's devil, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Nope.
I think we all know Lucius speaks Infernal.
Lucius does not speak Infernal, but
Then how the hell do you intend to make your deal with Satan?
I will telepathically ask my familiar to translate for me.
The familiar is only too happy to translate for you.
It says, give your familiar your soul or die.
It's a menu.
Roasted wereball.
Celestial caramel drizzle.
Gotta admit, this all sounds pretty good.
Angel food cake.
I don't know how good candied phase spider eyes sound, but you know, sure.
Does sound pretty like a delicacy, you know?
That's one word for it.
Expect no less. This is where our friend Victoria was gonna end up. I'm not surprised.
Deep fried miniature giant space hamster.
Wow.
Seasoned to perfection with rosemary, basil, thyme, and tears.
Sounds fantastic.
It really does.
It's the giant space hamster named Boo.
It was.
Damn.
You're shown to a table. If you wish to sit on a table, there are a variety of lounges and couches, divans and sofas, and more conventional high-backed chairs, both stiff and soft. Everything is to your exact specifications and delight, the lighting, the temperature. Um, but as you peruse through the menu, the Modron, who is looking after you, which is a kind of like a cube that has clockworks hanging off it and little mechanical wings, your Modron waiter asks, "How will you pay?"
What currency do you accept?
We accept soul coins or all other forms of barter.
I don't actually know what we're doing here, as I kind of look at the party as we're being shown to this table.
Where exactly is here?
You are in
asked the
infernal
Modron.
rapture, within the wandering emporium, within the plane of Avernus, within the world of Bator, within the lower planes, within the outer planes, within the multiverse.
Excellent, thank you.
You are at table 13.
Whereabouts is the front door?
He gestures towards a flap, and as the flap opens, a GIF comes through, and a GIF is like a giant hippopotamus that likes to dress as a colonial bloody explorer, complete with muskets and pistols. He takes off his, safari hat, those pith hats. He takes off his pith hat and hangs it up, and he grabs a menu.
Infernal Rapture.
If you cannot pay, you must leave.
Then I think we shall be going.
What is the problem here? Asks a man of Kalashite sensibilities. He has a turban on his head. He has a gold tooth which sparkles, a perfect smile, and an easy demeanor, and clothing that is at once simple and also exquisite, as if he uses the finest fabrics to create the most ordinary of stitching. Is welcome to the Wandering Emporium. I was not expecting you to come through that gate. May I ask where my regular guests might have been disposed to? You might know him as Cardinal Vincent, perhaps?
Last I checked, he was taking a bath.
He will be along soon then?
Hard to say. He likes to maintain a clean appearance and good personal hygiene. You understand, of course. Humans. in my
Yes, of
eyes.
course. And personal hygiene is our specialty. If you are not interested in a meal, perhaps I can arrange a spa for you. Manicure, pedicure, teeth cleaning, anything that you desire can be on offer here in the Infernal Rapture.
Anything at all, you say?
Anything at all. I have permission from the Lord of the Nine to grant any benefit to any benefactor, if the price is right.
You said he sounds like a Kalamshite. What's he look like? Sorry, if you already described it.
Yeah, he has a beard. He has a turban, long, beautiful robes that are both simple and exquisite at the same time. A gold tooth which shines. The guy looks like he's probably about 50, but he's a very handsome, easygoing 50, like a what we would call like a talk show host or a car salesman or something. And back then, maybe more like a politician or a religious leader, perhaps. He he has a very easy demeanor, which puts you at ease. Even if you think that he's a fool, there's still some kind of calming influence in his presence. Like he's in control and he wants to help. What more could you want?
Good.
If there is anything I can do for you, I would be only too happy to negotiate the right price. For are you not very important people? I can look at you and I see that you are no ordinary mortals, no? You are grand plane walkers on some important quest.
Do you sell information?
Yes. Information is one of our specialties.
And then
What is it that you wish to know, and what are you willing to pay to find out?
will you accept gold from the material plane as payment?
Yes, gold has some use. It is very important academically, and I have always found that men's hearts will do anything for the right amount of gold. How much gold are we talking, and what sort of questions are we asking?
Well, if it's all the same to you, we desire direction to the Living Labyrinth. We have business there.
Ah, the Living Labyrinth. Yes, I know this place. And what would you be willing to pay to learn how to get there?
I can offer you 1,000 gold pieces.
Oh, 1,000 gold. It does not seem like a very large amount to such wealthy patrons as yourselves. Surely the importance of finding this place is greater than such a pittance.
Yet I think it a very basic question.
Hmm. True enough, with perhaps a basic answer. But I think there is more to your question that you are not telling me, and I am wondering if maybe there is more to my answer that you would rather hear than just this way or that way.
What amount
Perhaps you
sounds
would.
fair to you?
It depends. Would you like to know things like what you can find when you get there, or who you can find? In this case, I do not know, maybe 50,000 gold pieces? Before you tell me you cannot pay, I look at each of you. You, and he points towards Keviak, you are wearing adamantine and mithril that would be worth 1/4 of a million gold. You could buy a kingdom in many worlds with this dwarf's armor alone. Do not tell me that you are poor, for I can see that you are exceedingly rich. But maybe you have something more important than money. Perhaps you have a soul?
Sorry, fresh out.
Very funny. I appreciate your ambition.
He seems to notice Valeria more or less for the first time and says, I see. You are fresh out of souls. Well, perhaps I can sell you some. If you are in the market for souls, you will find no better place to trade in all of the multiverse than the Wandering Emporium.
As
Is
much as
there any?
the lights, I don't have anything worth trading. Not that I'm willing to part with anyway.
We are already established that I am an information broker. I like to learn information. Perhaps we can start here. And he pulls out a coin, and on that coin there is a fat-nosed woman with a mean gleam in her eye on one side, and a picture of an Ouroboros on the other side, a snake eating its own tail, or two snakes eating each other's tail on the other side. This is a soul coin. I do not know her name, but it does not matter anymore. Perhaps if I offer you this, and he pushes it towards Valeria, you can tell me who you are and why you want to go to the Living Labyrinth.
Again, I appreciate the offer, but I can't say I'm particularly interested in the trade. She says with a smile.
That is too bad. Anyone here, would anyone like to be rich? All I wish to know is your name and why it is you seek out this exotic location.
I'm Sanj. My parents are kept there. That is essentially all you need to know.
It is a terrible thing to learn that. Well, he pushes the soul coin towards you. That, I suppose, is enough to earn the payment. And now you have the bargaining power, sir. And we can continue our negotiations, perhaps?
I will use the mage hand to like an index finger on the coin, push it back towards him.
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't know her name either, and I'm sure it doesn't matter. But here you are. Now you can tell us how to get there, who we can expect to be there, maybe how to get in. An information gatherer like yourself is surely aware of such things. A lot of
Certainly.
A lot of people come and go through here, I'm sure. So, here is my offer.
But I think that is all too much information for one measly soul coin. I will answer any one of your questions for the price of this poor soul.
Directions, then. Fastest and easiest way.
Very good. This I can do for you. We are beside the spawning trees. When you go outside, you will see how life flourishes in a place like this. Then you will find the river Styx, and I am sure you will find it, because it is too big for you to ignore. The fastest, the easiest, and the swiftest way would be to go up the river Styx. You will be going against the current. That is to your detriment, but it will take you there with certainty, or as much certainty as the planes can provide. They are uncertain by their nature. I trust that I have earned my coin.
You said we're near what? Something tree? Some trees, dead trees?
The spawning trees.
Okay.
True seeing. Right. Disregard. Alright. Okay. Can I ask a question for the price of a coin?
You may ask. An answer is not guaranteed.
Then I suppose payment is not either.
Exactly so.
I would like to know earnestly, no lies now, what role you have played in the Blood War in the past, since you have arrived at such an interesting time in the comings and goings of this eternal conflict.
I wonder what makes you think we've played any role.
It seems like a great coincidence for my expected guest to be replaced by such legendary warriors.
The Blood War is a war between demons and devils, no?
That is correct. At its heart, yes.
My companion here has already told you that we come seeking his parents. Your guest was involved in their disappearance. As such, our dealing with him was personal and nothing to do with the Blood War.
Wow. And this is advice for free. I should let you know that these are interesting times for Avernus. Normally, the landscape of Avernus is safe from the corruption of fiends and celestials alike. Normally, the purity of thought and of belief, the lawful nature of evil that pervades through Avernus keeps the place stable. It does not fluctuate or change like many outer planes. But things have become different recently. There have been great changes here in Avernus that have not occurred for a very long time. Of course, if you wish to know the nature of those changes, perhaps we can strike a deal.
It seems, if you don't mind me changing the course of the subject for a moment, that these soul coins, as you put them, are valued highly here, which makes sense given my knowledge of the planes. How is it that one would acquire such commodities?
Generally through honest and open trade, or perhaps through deceptive practices such as theft, or taking them from those who already have them in a conventional murder. The soul coins are harvested by highly specialized individuals. Many of them swim freely within the river Styx or on other realms where the nature of evil is less codified than it is here in Avernus. These soul coins are the physical manifestation of the last essence of a corrupt individual who found their way into an eternity of damnation. You need not pity them, you need not think about them at all. They are a form of power, of potentia. There is nothing more important in all of the multiverse than possibility. And nowhere will you find more possibility than in the souls of mortal beings.
I thank you for the information.
I do hope that you will return to Infernal Rapture the next time that you see the Wandering Emporium. If there is anything that we can do to make your life easier, to make things better, then I am sure that we can pay your price. So when you step out of Infernal Rapture, having successfully owed nothing to anybody, there was a little bit of a trade there, but the trade was fair and the debt was paid. You didn't so much as sample a snail or take a bite of a space hamster before getting out of there without incurring any debts. You find yourself no longer in Infernal Rapture, that is to say, the luxurious restaurant that spans the plains, and you find yourself in a place called the Wandering Emporium. The Wandering Emporium is a collection of tents, none of them so grand as the one that you've just departed from. And they sell a wide variety of things that tend to be of a corrupt or sinister nature, but include some technologies that you may not have even conceived of, such as war machines, power armor, spell turrets, steaming engines, soul forges. And all of this is alongside a place where you can get a haircut, where you can buy a drink, where you can play pin the tail on a real live donkey. It's part festival, part fair, part merchant market, part leisure centre, and it's all completely corrupt and sinister and run by individuals that are either shady or cruel or malicious or all three all at once. there anything anyone wants to buy in the universe?
What are elephants going for?
Elephants are going for 250 gold pieces.
I'll take 2.
Alright, they will also accept 2 soul coins. They have to go and import the elephants, but wait right here, sir. Someone opens a portal, they go and steal some elephants from a place that's a lot like Africa, and they bring them down here. Here you go, sir. 2 genuine elephants. The elephants start rampaging through the Wandering Emporium.
Worth it.
Worth it. Somebody else's problem there.
I'm curious on your all's thoughts on the matter. I'm not sure if any of you have broken into any prison before. I have, and I can't say it's exactly the easiest of tasks, let alone one in hell, I would assume. Would it be prudent to perhaps find a way to gather items we would not be unwilling to trade to gain more information? Or more than a direct assault? Or do your thoughts differ on the matter?
I think this question lies with Sanj. It's
Well,
matter to him.
knowledge is power, of course, and there's not a whole lot that we know right now. So I think if there's anything that we can do to find out more about what we're walking into, that might be wise. In terms of actually breaking into a prison, well, I admit I hadn't thought that far ahead. But then I didn't.
My immediate... Go ahead, sorry.
But then I didn't know what to expect upon arrival, and I have to admit that this is quite far from what I expected.
My immediate thoughts are if he, referring to the man in the inn, or any other being on this plane would be willing to exchange information for example, these soul coins or any other kind of item, perhaps it would be wise to make some form of deal, perform some task to achieve them, and then obtain that information from said individuals.
You mean to say we should go and try and acquire some soul coin?
Or whatever other items you would be willing to part with to gain said information. It seems the easiest path, although I'm sure there are other ways to find what information we need about that labyrinth.
I perhaps wonder if they would be prepared to, well, just flat out exchange my parents and the Duchess for any given amount of soul coin.
It's certainly not unreasonable from what I've heard of these devils.
Perhaps while we're at it, we should gather information about Tiamat. And what was the name of the guy that was in charge before Zariel?
B-E-L. Bell.
Bell. Perhaps we should gather information about Tiamat and Bell and what they've been up to in Avernus recently. And while we're on the subject of gathering information,
Yeah, I think
I would agree. Go ahead.
No, you go for it, man. Sorry.
I would agree, but again, it's all comes down to if our experience here is anything to represent it. It's all a matter of what we're willing to give. And at least if I'm speaking only for myself, I have nothing to give. At least currently. Besides time.
and see, I think you're missing the greatest point here. Lucius will just kind of motion to the entire party. Just because we don't have any soul coins doesn't mean we can't get something of the sort done.
I agree, that's partially what I'm indicating. But I don't want to make any presumptions with what you wish or are willing to part with.
Well, in a perfect world, we don't part
I,
with anything, but I don't think we're going to get that luxury.
I'll take no issue in parting with the belongings that don't belong to me. If you get what I mean.
I do.
He did say that many of those around here obtain these soul coins with force. Perhaps we should find out how common they are.
Any ideas on where to start?
We could approach a merchant and offer any given value of these soul coins for a
Sure.
for example, compare like an item that we are aware of the gold value of, and offer some
Yeah.
extravagant value of soul coins and gauge reactions.
It's
Try-
entirely arbitrary and entirely inconsistent as well. But as a very rough number, it seems that soul coins are valued somewhere between 100 gold and 1,000 gold. And it's not the gold, it's not the soul coins value that's fluctuating, but rather the gold, right? It's for comparison. Let's say you go to a modern city and you go to one bank and say, look, I've got 1,000 chickens. What am I going to get for my 1,000 chickens? And then you go next door and you try to sell them your 1,000 chickens. They don't know what the fucking price of 1,000 chickens are, and so they're probably going to give you some rather random value. And that's kind of how it works here. The soul coin is worth X, and that X is somewhere between 100 and 1,000 gold, depending on what it is that you bring to the table.
So we need stuff that seems expensive.
Maybe you more than that. You need to maybe tailor. Look, it seems to be as much luck as anything else, and just like one guy might think that gold's worth 1 unit, and the other guy thinks that gold's worth 10 units.
Yes,
It's
really,
just
really depends on
arbitrary.
who we're
That's all.
speaking to. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there doesn't necessarily seem to be rhyme or reason. In fact, it's probably got more to do with what they can get away with swindling you for.
So it's very much more like a barter system than a standard modernized currency like we have. Gotcha.
Exactly, with the one exception of the soul coin, which is very much the foundation of the economy and has a relatively set value.
So they're on
I
like the
think-
soul coin standard.
That's right.
I think
that's right.
perhaps a lot of you have missed my point. I was thinking more we can find out how common these coins are if any old devil or demon we encounter out there would have them, and afterwards perhaps see if we can find ourselves something to do to earn a number of these coins. I didn't mean in regards to trading our own valuables.
You wish to offer our skills and talents, and then receive
It's the
payment
most
for tasks.
valuable thing we have.
That's what I was arguing as well. My most prominent concern with that is being efficient with it. I mean, going up to any devil could, get us any kind of situation. It would be best to learn who could provide us the most, who is most right for us, I guess, would be the best way I could say it.
Perhaps we could speak with that fellow and find out if there is any sort of employment then. He means, I'm sure in a place like this, someone's going to have some work for people like us to do. Especially given the skill sets we have, and I gesture towards both Keviak and Adrastia.
So, back to the Infernal Rapture.
All right. Yeah, back to Infernal Rapture. And by the way, I haven't yet mentioned the Arcanes who are here. There's a lot of different stalls, as I mentioned, war machines and soul engines and all sorts of things. But the largest, apart from the Infernal Rapture itself, the largest is a group called the Arcanes, or the Morcanes. And the Morcanes are, they stand about 10 feet tall. They have blue skin. They've got an extra knuckle on every finger, which is just slightly creepy. And they are the premier traders of magical items in the multiverse, bar none. They have turned magic item production and distribution into an international, interstellar, interplanar corporate conglomerate. Um, Basically, every magic item that you could possibly want is probably here, and probably at prices that are better than you've ever seen in Forgotten Realms before, because they're more expensive in the realms. Anyway, so if you're interested in that, that's available. But for now, we'll go back to Infernal or Rapture. Oh, of course, absolutely, wands of fireballs,
Just
necklace of fireballs, all sorts
out
of
of
stuff.
curiosity, in the Emporium
Mm.
or in the Rapture, is there any sign of uh, demons or like
Yes.
any kind of like neutrality between the devils and demons at this particular location?
Yeah, in Infernal Rapture, like it was, there were individuals that could have been demons or daemons or devils. It's a little bit unclear. Um, but the short answer is yes. There is evidence here that this place is kind of a neutral ground where even the traditional enemies of hell are allowed to tread in certain circumstances. Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. The majority of the demons, however, are kept in cages and are fed to the machines to provide energy to the demon engines. So there is that
Okay.
little closet in a box with great fuel source. All right. Um, Welcome back, my friends, says Mahadi, as he takes you to a small stall where he creates an aura of silence where we can just talk quietly without any eavesdropping. I'm glad that you have returned, my friends. I trust that I can be of some service to you.
Your comments on the currency and general means to acquire information have resonated with us, and we believe you might know of someone or something that might have need for a particular set of skills and talents, such as the ones that we have, in exchange for this currency. We are, of course, new to the area and have the means to pay for the amenities that the plane has to offer.
Yes, I would be happy to help you to procure some kind of employment. But what's in it for me?
Well, I've just told you we're looking to generate our own income. Perhaps,
Perhaps. Go ahead. Sorry.
in our success, perhaps we could offer you some of said pay.
Oh, very well. But I am not really interested in that kind of payment. I am more curious about you and your own. Um, for example, you seem to not be involved in the Blood War, and yet you are involving yourself head first. You have destroyed a cardinal of Asmodeus, nominally a neutral party within the Hells. You have plans to infiltrate the living labyrinth and break out some of the most high value prisoners in the multiverse, or they would not be kept there. I am wondering if you have any deeper relations with those who run the living labyrinth, or uh, exactly how you are going to change the balance of a firmness. Uh, I would be most interested to know if you plan to depart as soon as you are finished, or if you will be staying. Um, and if you can perhaps answer me these questions, then I perhaps can find you someone who needs your help.
speaking for myself, I have only an interest to free a friend. Afterwards, I have no long-term interest in staying in Avernus, or any of the hells for that matter. To be honest with you, I find the place unbecoming. A bit too, orderly.
You've asked if we have any dealings with those that operate the Living Labyrinth. Again, not personally. And I feel to become involved with them would be folly, although I guess we're walking into it anyway. Putting our feet in it, as the saying goes. You asked if we intend to stay. I believe not. I'm sure you can appreciate that if we're successful, we'll want to leave as soon as possible, for fear of invoking the wrath of whoever is operating the prison. What else would you know?
Let me see. Where have you come from? And what will happen to your world if you do not succeed?
We have arrived from the prime material plane.
That much is obvious.
Toro.
Really? Are you familiar with the Sword Coast?
It shouldn't be all that surprising to you, as the portal we entered was from that location.
Ah, of course, of course. Well, perhaps you will find a little bit of home down here in Avernus. I hear that Elturel is beautiful and warm this time of year.
It has arrived then, finally.
Yes, it came, and there was a comet alongside it, a streaking comet, which flew through the air and crashed not far from here. It looked like a ship that had come loose.
Oh, shit. How long ago?
Oh, perhaps 3 of your mortal 24-hour days? But time passes differently here. In many ways, it has already happened 1,000 years ago and will happen 1,000 years in the future. Sometimes when you walk forward, you actually walk back.
Have I mentioned I hate it here?
I'm sure that you will come to appreciate its intricacies as much as I do.
I doubt that. But anyway.
In any case, you are seeking people who can make use of your unique talents. I have 2 individuals in mind, both of which I am certain would look upon your capabilities with favor. Are you familiar with the commander of the 8, Lord Bell, or the Queen of Dragons, Tiamat?
We've heard both names before.
Bell is a general, the premier general of Avernus, serving directly as the right hand of the Duke of Avernus, Grand Zari. He, I am sure, could have use of such talented people in his defenses of Avernus, if you are willing to participate in the tides of chaos that the abyss brings to us by disturbing the peace of our world. Or
You mean
perhaps,
killing
yeah,
demons?
yeah, indeed. They are arriving en masse are for reasons that is best left explained by somebody else.
And the second option?
The champion of Tiamat, his name is Arkan. Arkan the Cruel. He is a prime worlder like yourselves from the simple worlds. He has committed himself to the service of his god, his goddess, and he will do anything to impress her and to make sure that she notices him, and she has noticed him. But he needs allies, people that can make him seem even more powerful, can gain more power, from which he can enact the will of his goddess. I am sure that if you can lend him your aid, he would appreciate such intervention.
Do you have any idea what his aims are specifically? Beyond improving his god? Who is she in disfavor with, at war with, in conflict with?
I am sure that these are not secrets that I can just give away.
Understood.
But you can answer, I'm assuming, the tasks he would be handing out would be much different to Bell's involvement in the Blood War.
I do believe so, yeah. They have differing objectives.
Valeria will turn to the group, kind of shifting away from the focus of the man. I must say I prefer Arkin to Bell. But, of course, the choice is yours.
I'm hesitant to get involved with forces belonging to Tiamat, but I'd be inclined to agree. Getting involved in the Blood War would be. We can discuss this later.
Marty, perhaps a moment, if you would not mind.
Of course, I would be delighted.
If he, as he gets up and leaves, I lean in closely and ask, was Bell not... Is there not some rivalry with Zariel? Could we not perhaps...
It's exactly what it was. Bell was the former leader that was overthrown by Zariel.
So...
And Tiamat before him. Tiamat and Bell are the two forces that are trying to retake, or wish to retake Avernus.
Yeah, okay.
My understanding is...
I know you are a friend, Sanj, and so I can offer you this information for free. All must bow down to Asmodeus. He is the Archduke and the Lord of the Nine. But yes, it is true. Zariel has not held power in Avernus for very long, and before her was Bel, a general beyond compare, and before him was Tiamat, who is now prisoner even in her own prison. They are exceedingly delicate in dealing with each other, and yet their hierarchy is clear.
Which is why I said we can talk about this later. Alright, I think we've got what we need to know. Should we be leaving?
Where might we head if we wish to pursue either line of inquiry?
Follow the river Styx. It will lead you wherever you need to go, but you must travel upstream. and that means that you will have to pay the price.
Could one not simply follow the stream on the shore?
Yes, you could, and perhaps you are strong enough to endure such a thing, but it is a terrible journey, far more difficult than the deserts and wastelands of your prime material world. You may perish, and in any case, you will not enjoy. Better to simply find someone who will do the work for a price.
Well, if we have further lines of inquiry, we'll certainly come and ask you. And I can at least speak for myself in saying I will remember and pay the debt in kind when we have the opportunity, or at least I do.
Very good. And if you are refusing to find a ferryman who can take you upriver, then might I suggest that you head down to the Salamanders and inquire about a war machine. The price will be stiff, yeah, but I am sure that you can pay. Good day to you all. I do hope to see you again at the Wandering Emporium, and I earnestly hope that I can be of more service to you next time. There you are, out in the here we are down in the spawning trees. So it's a blasted wasteland. The whole thing is a blasted wasteland. The sky is red and on fire, and it's literally raining fire a couple of miles towards what might be the north. The spawning trees are so called because they are an abyssal bush that has become infested here in Avernus. They're not native, they shouldn't be here. But what they look like, right, is a very meaty pickle or a cucumber or something, a very meaty pickle that is stuck into the ground like a fleshy balloon. And it opens up, if you know what a banana bell looks like, it kind of opens up like a banana bell and spits out what looks not entirely quite unlike a plucked frozen chicken. And instead of having a head, this plucked frozen chicken has a lamprey style mouth, which immediately starts ravaging whatever it can get its fangs on. And that's how abyssal chickens are born. Fascinating.
So, now that we're out of earshot, perhaps we can continue our conversation.
Yeah, I think the information we've gathered in there just solidifies the directions we had beforehand. Bell and Tiamat seem to be the two forces which could both help with Avernus and help us with our other goals with Elturel.
You mentioned possibly playing a rivalry of sorts between Bel and Zarya.
Yeah,
What do you know of this?
as he mentioned in there, Bel was the ruler of Avernus before Zariel took over. I'm not too sure the exact reasoning behind what happened, but it seems to me that Zariel has one-upped Bel, or perhaps Bel has fell afoul of Asmodeus, and Zariel has ended up overthrowing him and taking his position. And I believe we've heard that she's keeping him as a armor smith, a forge, doing menial work for a high-ranking devil that used to rule a layer of hell. I'm sure that's quite insulting.
Yeah, I think I think perhaps we could appeal to Bell if we were to for example, we say we hypothetically approach this being, we mention our desire to work for him in exchange for the currency of the plane. In our success, we further sell ourselves. Hey, look, we're good at what we do. Perhaps you could put us to further use in attaining your seat of power again. We hit the prison, perhaps with Bell's help, maybe with Bell's help. And then, if Zariel is in charge of this plane, and the living labyrinth is broken into, and you heard it from the horse's mouth, this fellow has described some of the most sought-after prisoners in the multiverse are kept here. I think that would look pretty terrible. Almost to the point, perhaps, where, well, the Lord of the Nine steps in.
I like your thinking.
I would prefer for us not to risk having him involved. Alternatively, there is the option of meeting with Tiamat's servants, which could be just as dangerous, but if we get involved with Bell, we're getting involved in the internal squabbles of devils, as well as likely the blood war, which could be just as risky.
As I said, I prefer the option of dealing with Tiamat, but if we do deal with Bell, I have no problem pitting one devil against another. However, I would highly prefer if we do not get involved with killing demons on a large scale. It seems antithetical to my goals.
Not to mention, I think, from what he said, it sounds like Tiamat's imprisoned, and we wouldn't be dealing with a god directly. We'd be dealing with her followers.
The champion, Arkan, I believe, was the name we were given.
Yeah, he was mentioned as being someone from the material. It might be easier for us to deal with another mortal rather than a former ruler of a layer of hell, a powerful devil.
I would agree.
Perhaps this Arkan fellow might be interested in aiding our escapade into the living labyrinth. Then, is out of character, Arctic. Have we been told that Tiamat is being kept in the living labyrinth? I'm not sure.
Not the living labyrinth. He said that she's a prisoner in her own prison.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah.
It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility that Tiamat or this Arkan fellow would have someone imprisoned in this multiverse dimensional holding cell.
Yeah, and being that Tiamat herself is a god, I think that he would be less hesitant to do something that would upset devils than Bell might be. At least I don't think he would be bound necessarily by the same hierarchy.
I agree.
It seems the wise
Is
option.
anyone
Then. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
is anyone opposed to this Arkan option? Andrastia? Kaviak?
I am not.
Sorry, what was the question? I lagged.
Are you opposed to dealing with Arkan / Tiamat?
Nah.
Will he
Lucius
have
is gonna
eyes?
start setting the footwork up for when he turns himself into a dragon someday.
I suppose the next immediate question then is, do we intend to use the river Styx or this steam engine?
I'm quite curious about these machines he's mentioned a number of times. And I've heard about the river Styx before. I'm not sure where the concept of that being safe comes from, but
Out of character, Arctic, river Styx flows through the abyss as well, right? Question
Sure
mark?
does. It connects all of the lower planes. It's one of the only and by far the most reliable way to travel between the lower planes. There are portals, of course. There are gates that occasionally open, but the river Styx is certain. Like it goes past certain locations. It provides a great deal of certainty, and thus is one of the most important objectives in the Blood War because right, it's the only highway that links all of the lower planes.
It's the highway to hell.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's pretty much exactly that because it's the only constant. Like a plane shift spell, sure you can take like 8 people with you, or a
Yeah.
gate you might get 4 or 5 people to go through a gate. But the river Styx is how millions upon millions of demons can invade hell.
Yeah.
The downside of using the river Styx is that you might run into millions of demons invading.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the downside. Is that like it's the best highway. That's
Not
its strength and its weakness, I suppose.
not to mention, I think the water of the river Styx is supposed to be highly poisonous.
That wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although that might not be the river Styx itself, it might just be the bodily fluids of millions of demons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, this whole map looks like it's poisonous.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the river Styx water has some interesting properties which I won't explain. We just have to find that out if it ever becomes relevant.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So but it brings a roundabout way of saying, are we going to investigate these machines, or are we going to try to find a ferryman?
Machines for sure. I mean, Sanja's parents are the priority here, but Lucius's attention is caught at the option of traveling via war machines.
sounds good. Valyria doesn't really care how we get there.
I have to admit,
There is
I do like the idea of some sort of exotic war machine.
There's a blistering array and variety of war machines, thanks in part to our supplement that we've been given by this dude, which is totally like playtest stuff. So if we want to playtest it, we can. And the array and variety, as I said, incredible. There are motorcycles, there are dune buggies, there are dump trucks, there is power armor, there are flyers, there are walkers, there are things on tracks and things on wheels. The sheer variety is incredible. It's all freshly constructed or reconstructed or scrapped together. None of it is particularly pretty. It's all piecemeal and held together with prayers to evil deities. But one thing that they share in common is their demon engine. A demon engine is a combustion force, like a box basically, and you stuff pretty much anything in there. They're called demon engines because there is constant chaotic evil energy which burns through there. Like you bind a demon, that's how you get it started. But they don't only eat demons. You could chuck in a human corpse, for example, and it would devour that. Really the soul energy as much as the physical body. But more conventionally, you chuck in soul coins, and a soul coin will keep you burning clean, burning far for a long time. If you do chuck in demon bodies, and usually in the form of demon ichor, it acts as a kind of nitro. It gives you an injection of speed and power and velocity that the machine is normally not capable of. So there you go. A blistering variety. It all looks kind of crap, but it's actually amazing. And they are exclusively powered by demon engines, which run primarily off soul coins, but can operate off just about any living matter.
I think the only remaining question is how much.
A lot. Um, A lot. The base motorcycles start at about 10,000. The bigger vehicles go up to 20, 25,000. The really big ones, 50 to 100,000. That's in gold pieces. So depending on what you want, the price tag is.
How large would we need to be to fit 6 to 8 people inside the vehicle?
You could get one that's called a Tormentor that has about 8 seats, and that would be worth 25,000. It won't have any weapon systems, but it's basically like a big Gorkamorka truck that the orcs ride in 40k. A big broad dumpster truck that everyone piles onto.
How common are these things out there? Like, are there devils and demons driving around in them everywhere, or?
Relatively common. There are a number of individuals called warlords, and these warlords get around in their war bands of somewhere between 3 and 5 vehicles, usually one and 7 vehicles maybe. And there's probably about half a dozen of those warlords in this vicinity, like what we can see on the map here. Some of them are relatively small little groups of bike riders that just hang around together, and some of them are quite large. Legions of devils that have broken away from their masters and suddenly gone mercenary and survived.
Alright, so are there any that make their base relatively nearby to where this place is now?
There's a base up here, yeah. And that belongs to a night hag and her minions.
And
It's
whereabouts
more
are
of a
we now?
fortress than you're down here at the spawning trees.
Alright.
I think it's Fort Knucklebone is a fortress that sits up here, not far from the river, the edge of the River Styx, kind of in the shadow of Bell's Forge, and but they are less of a warband and more of a fortress, trading post, specialty village. Most of the warlords are nomadic, and so they just rampage and rape wherever they go. But this particular one has a settled base. Yeah.
Right, so we acquire one of these machines, we acquire some fuel meantime, and then take the machine where we need to go. It's the line of thinking, right?
Yeah,
try
I
and pay
don't
for it,
much
we can
like
steal
the
it.
thought of spending half of our wealth on one, though.
Why don't you
Just
offer,
kill somebody for
just
it.
offer your soul? They'll take that, I'm sure. Sans chuckles.
My soul's worth significantly more than that, at least.
So there is a number on it.
Lucius looks away like he didn't hear the question.
Well, if we're not prepared to pay this much, what do? We try and steal one?
You could steal one, kill one, or do something else.
Are we about to
That's what I was
jack a
thinking was to...
gonna jack a car down here in Avernus?
Well, this is a rather large, what is this, like a caravan?
Yeah, caravan is the best, or even bigger than a caravan, like a fair.
Yeah, this is a rather large group here, so I think stealing anything here would be a mistake. I'm thinking we could chase down one of these nearby warlords and commandeer a couple of vehicles.
We'd have to find them first.
And get to them without a vehicle.
If it's short distances, that's not difficult. Most of us have the ability of flight.
Hold
Would
it.
you guys mind giving me 30 minutes to perform a ritual?
Kind of ritual.
If we're gonna do something risky like steal, commandeer a vehicle, maybe perhaps I could ask my goddess for help.
By all means, I think we could use all the help we can get.
Okay. I'm gonna make a magic circle. And then I'm going to cast in the magic circle planner.
All right.
And I'm asking Leviatar for to send something. Whatever. I don't know what it would look like. Maybe big titty and me goth woman, but I'm not sure. And does something appear Arctic?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just lagging a bit.
Oh, you good?
So you create a planar ally. You're obviously contacting your own deity, aren't you?
Yeah, I made a magic circle, and then I'm conjuring it into the magic circle.
Brilliant, brilliant. A woman appears before you that looks like she is ready for war. She has black wings, beautiful black feathered wings. Her skin is almost completely white, almost a pale white, but her lipstick is black, her eyeliner is black, her hair is dyed black. She's dressed in armor that is much more functional than it is seductive or sexual, but it still fits her muscular and lithe body tightly in any case. And this woman appears before you with whip in one hand and a sword in the other, and she kneels. What would you have me do, Lord of what's the name of your temple? The House of the Lord of the House of Pain.
You will serve me without question. You will do everything I say to the letter. Is that?
I shall do everything that you say, Master, as long as it does not violate my higher commitments to those who are more powerful than you by far.
Well, let's just call this next piece a better understanding, so you can't deny. And then I'm gonna cast.
You got out after cast.
I'm casting planner binding at a high level.
You do not need to bind me, Master, but be it as you shall, I accept your enforcement. I still cannot violate my higher callings, but Lord, I am yours.
So I casted to at a 7th level slot. If she doesn't, if she automatically fails, I have her for 180 days. Or no, 30 days.
30 days, yeah.
She will accept your binding. She doesn't resist.
And then I erase the magic circle.
Alright, you have an Arinyas.
I thought the description sounded familiar.
Trust Leviathan to have devils serving under her.
Hmm.
Why am I not surprised at all?
What is your request, Master?
Right now, you just follow me and talk unless I say so.
She does not reply.
Alright, gentlemen, here's our help.
Is she going to carry all of us on her back, Aldrich?
Is she able to? How big is this thing, by the way?
Arinyas, I'm pretty sure that they're only medium, but I'll just check. They might be large.
Average height is 6 feet. Average weight is 150 pounds. So yeah, I would say medium.
So
Yeah, they're.
normal
I mean,
humanoid size then.
yeah. Warrior women with broad black wings.
Now let's commandeer a ride.
Indeed. So yeah, how far away is this fort you mentioned that one of the warlocks
That's a good
lives
question. That's a good question, and you can't seem to get a straight answer. But they tell you that if you follow the river Styx, it'll lead there eventually.
It's answered everything in this place.
Just
But
follow
but-
the Red 6 road.
That's it.
Yeah.
They think that like you're stupid for walking though. They make that clear. Like then again, you're pretty capable, so I guess you won't die instantly.
How close are we to the river Styx? And this little carnival caravan thing we're at? Like, is it on the shore? Okay. So, I mean, if we're like right there, we might as well just ask and see how much a ferry is to this fort or whatever.
I'll try swapping over internet for a moment. See if this. Yeah, I've got some issues. Oh no, that might be clear now. That's look like it's going alright. Alright, sorry, what was the question?
How close is this gathering that we're at? Close to the river Styx?
It's
Like,
quite
can we
close.
see it?
Yeah, yeah, you can see the river Styx, yeah. The spawning trees are on your east or right or whatever it is, and that's where the abyssal chickens are being born, and the river Styx is over on your west. But in the same way as a mirage in a desert makes things difficult to determine how far away, you can't tell if it's half a mile or 5 miles away.
We might as well ask, right? While we're here?
I'm not sure we'll get a straight answer, but we can try.
Valyria will head towards the river Styx and attempt to find a ferryman or boatman or anybody that might be knowledgeable about the payments required to access.
Yeah, sure. Alright. So, you get down to the edge of the River Styx, and it takes around about 2 hours of walking, which shouldn't take anywhere near that long, but it does. And by the time you've walked through the blistering heat, which is like a burning oven, breathing the toxic fumes, being constantly harassed by biting insects and finding leeches that have the literal ability to dimension door into your boot without having to go through the top. They just warp themselves into your boot to suck on your blood. By the time you've dealt with all of these things for 2 hours, everybody who isn't both resistant to poison and resistant to fire has to make a Constitution DC 15 check. Now, if you're resistant to one, you get advantage. If you're resistant to both, you're fine. Poison and fire. DC 15.
Not doing well.
All right. Those of you who fail take a level of exhaustion. So disadvantage on all skill checks, basically. If you got that.
Is there an exhaustion tracker on this sheet, or no? I mean, I can just do it manually. If not, it's fine.
I think there is one. It'll be in. Oh, where is it? I remember activating on another sheet.
I think you have to go into the settings and manually turn it on.
That's fine.
Oh yeah, it's general options. It's like the last thing. Show exhaustion tracking.
Okay.
Excellent.
So those of you who are beat or exhausted, by the time you reach the banks of the River Styx, you're in blistering heat that is relentless, truly relentless. Like the sun is not going to set, nor is it going to rise. There is no sun. It's just a burning, boiling, broiling sky that spews magma and fire and smoke belching at all intervals. And the closer you get to the Styx, the more of those biting insects and teleporting leeches you come across. It's fucking horrendous. And it's going to drive you mad if it doesn't kill you first. I'll take that quiet resignation as stoicism.
Valeria mentions once or twice more along the trip how much she fucking hates this place, but yeah, she's not gonna be annoying about it.
It's a far cry from that fancy restaurant, that's for sure.
Dwarves poison ourselves for fun. It's not that bad. You pansies.
Ha. Doing just fine.
Pain is an excellent teacher.
Excellent. And when you reach the River Styx, it's a bloated, bloody morass. It's thicker than molasses, but about as runny as hot honey. Just flowing through meandering through the lower plains. It's a very dark red, almost like a scab that has gone black. And there is a lot of debris floating within it. Logs and twigs and bones and no shortage of corpses. In fact, a corpse flows by bloated and big, like an ogre's bloated corpse. And then another one, and another one, and another one, and pretty soon, it almost looks like the River Styx is going to be clogged with these bloated, floating humanoid corpses. But the current seems to be strong enough, or maybe there's something underneath the surface which pushes them and dislodges them, and the flow begins again before the banks can break. What do we do? Talk to a dead ogre? I don't know.
So there's no live humanoids in sight?
No live humanoids in sight, that is correct. Not unless you look back towards the Wandering Emporium, which is packing up and beginning to roll out.
Well, what do we do now?
Seems like a bust. I'd hope there would be somebody close by, but... Do we... Any chance Valyria would have heard anything about how one might contact the boatman of the River Styx?
Sure. Yeah, we can make a history check.
Meantime, Insange
Oh.
just call out. I require a ride upstream. Ferryman, I bid you join me so that we can discuss terms.
You call out to the river. The river seems to bubble and chug and slowly move like thick mud, but there comes no answer.
Kavia sticks his thumb out like he's trying to hail a cab.
Shall we move?
Maybe.
Shall we move upstream
Yeah,
in the
go ahead.
meantime? Along the
Suppose
shore.
we shall.
Is
Further
moving
up.
upstream antithetical to the distance of going towards the warlord location that we were told about?
Potentially, it is upstream, like theoretically, but we're already beginning to question our understanding of basic physics.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that should be correct, but then again, this is hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we just move upstream and hope somebody's with a car is dumb enough to try to pick a fight.
Brilliant. And so
Yeah.
you march along the banks of the River Styx, being constantly harassed by what counts as wildlife down here. But it's really the oppressive nature of the environment itself which takes its toll. Everyone make another one of those saving throws for poison and for heat. We're getting used to it. Except for Lucius. Lucius, you suffer a second level of exhaustion, but everyone else seems to be adapting, except for you.
Pampered noble.
Lucius, shall we establish a dome and give you some time to recover?
You want me to carry you?
Doesn't seem to be in too good a shape.
Here, drink some of this. And he hands him a flask. It'll put hair on your chest. Maybe some other places. You might grow a beard, actually.
Mercifully, or perhaps not, you can see a vessel in the distance. It's in the distance that you're traveling. It appears to be a skiff, a boat that's about 18 feet long, about 6 or 7 feet wide. A gondola might be a better description, because the guy who is pushing it is not using an oar, but rather has this long staff that he uses to trudge through the morass. He seems to be coming for you at a very slow pace.
Perhaps
Well,
it's
that may be our
the
ferryman.
Raise a hand to try and, like, hail him, I suppose. Hail him down.
He comes over, and by the time the ferryman has reached the side of the shore, you can see that he is a skeletal individual, possibly a skeleton, or maybe that's just what he looks like. But he's all bone, skull and rib cage, hidden beneath a Hessian robe. And he extends a bony hand, and you hear whispered on the wind, "One koi."
Kavia, like, easy, pulls a copper out of his pocket.
"One koi," he says as the copper just passes through the bones and clink, clink, clinks before dropping into the river Styx.
Bloop. I say we just
don't
pay him. I
have.
don't want to walk anymore.
We don't have a slow coin, do we?
No, we don't.
Did we not receive one for giving?
We gave it back. I'm pretty sure.
So he gave it to me as payment for info. I gave it back to him for payment as info. Fair bargain.
Well then.
Looks like we're on foot.
The gondola begins to push off from the bank. You're not sure that Lucius is going to survive this, guys. the exposure is brutal. It's it's about 60 degrees centigrade, which I think is about 140 Fahrenheit. It's intense and relentless. You can't easily rest in this kind of environment. There's no shade, there's no breeze, the air is toxic.
I think it best we take a moment. And I will begin to cast Tiny Hut as a ritual.
Alright.
Not a bad idea. We can keep a watch out for any vehicles that may pass us by and appropriate them.
I'll have the dome coloured so that it matches the terrain. So looking from the outside in, it would be coloured as though it was just ground, and then on the inside it'll be obviously transparent looking out.
Excellent. Alright.
And I think the most important line is this one: the atmosphere inside is comfortable and dry. Thank God for that.
Alright. And so we're just gonna spend some time in here until like Lucius can get some rest, and is that what we're gonna do?
Seems like it.
I guess.
I mean, if it looks like he's not going to survive, then yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's not at death's door yet, but you don't often see adventurers lose 2 levels of exhaustion. That's, that's getting close, right? So
I think
I don't know.
level 6 is death.
Yeah. But do you recall ever having Keviak on 2 exhaustion levels? I highly doubt it.
Like once or twice, because frenzying gives me exhaustion.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, cool. I guess we're all just exaggerating.
I mean, we're pretty pooped. Like, we could probably justify taking a rest if we want to, but I can keep going at least.
I can too, but I think for the good of the collective, we should just stop and take a moment.
It's not like we're in any rush. Time passes 1,000 years on the past and future here, but
I mean, maybe if we camp here, someone with a car will show up and we can jack.
yeah, easy.
While that definitely seems a possibility, it seems less likely since you're actually so successfully hidden. I mean, maybe someone just comes riding alongside the River Styx. That's possible, right? But if you're looking to lure people in, maybe you could make yourself a more enticing target.
Want me to sit on top?
Yeah, you seem to be unaffected by the harsh wastes. Perhaps.
Reminds me of home.
Perhaps if a passing convoy wanders by and sees you alone, they might try something.
I'll sit up top and keep an eye out.
All right. You're still quite small, and although you're pretty shiny, but you're still quite small. And so you're not sure if anyone has noticed you when you, after maybe 6 hours or so, you see a dust cloud appear in the distance. Dust clouds have kicked up here constantly. A dust storm has come through here once or twice. But this one looks deliberately like a cavalry charge, right? Imagine like 100 horses riding in the distance, the sort of dust that they kick up in the desert. And that's what you can see at a distance of about a mile, moving like it's a fucking fast horse, that's for sure.
Judging by the size of the cloud, can I tell like if it's a single target or like a bunch of them?
Probably about 100 cavalrymen at a guess.
Ooh, Kiviak's gonna poke his head inside the sphere and say, looks like we got company and looks like it may be a lot.
I can't leave unless we engage, so I have to stay put for the dome to remain.
Right.
But if it comes to it, I'll leave, but I can't help for now.
I'll step out with Caviac with the devil woman.
Alright. Well, Aldrich, it's true that there could be 100 horses that would make around about that much dust, but it also might be just one really pissed off air elemental. That's the sort of dust cloud that magic could potentially make, like a second level or a third or fourth level spell. It could make a dust cloud that big. It's, maybe he's overreacting. In any case, it's about a mile away and moving at a speed of about 100. Fast. Anyone?
I think we just wait for it to get closer.
It's gonna
Pull out
pass
a
on
cigar
by.
and light it.
Alright. Whatever it is doesn't seem to notice you, and it looks like it's going to pass on by at a distance of about a mile. Maybe a bit closer. 3/4 of a mile.
I let it pass.
Alright, it passes. The tiny hut vanishes, and we set off back out into the intense heat.
Seems like it.
Sorry, did we just get a long rest? Is that what I'm hearing?
We did. There was a massive dust storm created by some entity or entities, but we ignored it, and now 8 hours have passed without us being disturbed.
Excellent.
As we make our way now, again traveling, I think I'll cast Fly on myself, Arctic, just for the next hour, or whatever the duration is. Where is it? 10 minutes. So what I'll do is I intend to fly up to a distance of about maybe 60 to 80 feet.
Yeah.
And just kind of scan around for points of interest, things that might look like these engines. Perhaps a marauding band of these rogue beings that you'd mentioned earlier.
Excellent. You can have advantage on your perception check.
No trouble at all. Say 15.
Done. Alright. Well, it's coming through clear. I think it's coming through clear again. You managed to... you can hear me, right?
Yeah, you're coming through. You're all good.
Yeah, good. So you managed to spot what was causing or the evidence of whatever it was creating that dust cloud, right? There are roughly somewhere between 5 and 10 sets of tracks. There's no better way of describing it. They don't look like any tire or wheel you've ever seen before in your life, except while you're at the Wandering Emporium. But it would appear that massive dust cloud was made by somewhere between 5 and 10 vehicles, each of which was about the size of a horse, but moved at an incredible speed.
Yeah, and they're long gone now, that's fine. Okay.
Well, we could follow their tracks and jack their shit.
I don't think we could catch up to them.
They may make camp, we could try, but it takes us off the path. Is that a risk we're prepared to take?
So that or blindly follow the river.
Worth a shot, do we think?
Do devils even need to rest?
I'm afraid I couldn't tell you.
I mean, maybe when we're following their tracks, like another group will come upon us, but It's blindly follow these tracks or blindly follow the river.
It's a good chance the tracks will lead to a warlord stronghold or something. Like, that fortress up there.
Yes,
Something
true.
similar.
I say we pursue.
Wild Yes, I think you're right. Wild devils may not rest. Surely they have some sort of place to stash all the stuff that they plunder.
And at this rate, following the river Styx on foot seems unlikely to be successful.
Alright.
Then we're following the tracks.
Yes.
The decision is made. Unless we have some protection against the environment, let's do our basic health checks. DC 15, advantage if you have resistance against fire or poison.
Did we have a long rest or?
Yeah, we did just now.
You're nearly almost got used to it, Lysias, but not quite. At least you're not alone in your endurance this time.
I'm gonna use
Okay.
inspiration.
Alright.
I'm gonna throw protection from poison to give myself advantage on the roll.
Go ahead.
Hey, I needed it.
Brilliant. And it works. Lots blessing. Alright, so those of you who failed DC 15, another level of exhaustion. As you follow these tracks all fucking day, you march through the blistering heat for no less than 11 or 12 hours. And by the time you see where they end, you must think that it's a mirage. There's a fortified building, just not basically one building, looks like a large homestead or a hotel or something. And it's surrounded by a wall of copper and steel and twisted iron. And there appear to be a handful of vehicles, roughly the size of horses, that are parked out the front of this building or collection of buildings, this homestead. And you might even vaguely hear the sounds of shouting and glass breaking occasionally that comes from this locale. The mirage is about a mile away.
Does anybody see that pond of water out there? Or that home next to it?
I don't see the water, I see the structure you're talking about, however.
God, my skin is awfully dry. Oh.
Snap out of it, lads.
Is that it then? Have we arrived? Finally.
Keep your heads on the tracks.
You walk another mile, and the building is still a mile away.
Definitely a mirage.
God, this place is awful.
Dry. Confound it all.
No choice
Anyone
but to
want
keep going.
booze? It helps.
Anyone want booze? It helps.
Not dwarven moonshine.
No, thank you, Keviak. I appreciate the offer nonetheless.
I'm just saying, Kiviak's the only person who seems to be absolutely fine, and he's drinking the dwarven moonshine. Maybe there's a correlation.
That's right.
Best way to resist poison, inject yourself with more poison.
There we
Exactly,
go.
it's like homeopathy.
Alright.
I'm suffering, but I'm smiling about it.
Good call. Good call. And so when you all walk another mile and it's still a mile's distant before you get there, everyone has to make a wisdom saving throw, but Aldrich and Keviak have advantage thanks to alcohol and religion, which are kind of the same thing.
Wisdom saving throw, was it?
Indeed.
I don't know what this is for, but I'm gonna use my inspiration. I don't like those failing
it.
wisdom saves. That's better.
Alright, there is a table. If I try to bring it up, it'll probably cause me to lag. But in the compendium there is a table called Short-Term Madness. If you fail to 15, then go ahead and roll a D100 to learn what your short-term madness is.
I think Lucius is the only one who failed.
I think Keviak as well.
Poor
Inspiration
Lucius.
didn't get a 19.
Oh, you got the inspiration. Right. What did you end up with,
Oh,
Mr.
boy.
Ancapra?
Oh. It's just standard attack that it's not spells, I think. I'm not sure.
To attack. That's up to Lucius. So Lucius, you fucking had enough of these fuckwits. They fucking led you into fucking hell. If they were as competent as you, if they were able to banish astral krakens single-handedly, there is no way that you would have to put up with this bullshit. It is time that one of them has to die. Which one bears the brunt of your justified wrath? I can't hear him. Oh, he's BRB. Right? No? That was an hour ago.
Yeah.
He has not spoken yet.
You may be muted, Penguin.
Yeah, which one of us is about to get disintegrated?
Might be AFK as well.
Where was that handout under, Vitch?
If you look up just look up madness in the compendium. There's a handout.
Oh,
called
okay,
Madness
gotcha.
Effects. Yeah, first table.
I was looking in the wrong place.
And this is for 1d10 minutes, I think, as well.
Oh
God.
Alright, well, how are we going to deal with
Disintegration
this?
on repeat.
He gets
Well,
too,
that's for
he gets
1d10,
too
isn't
exposed.
He just turns around and punches Son.
If it's any like consolation, he's exhausted, so he's trying to like punch you, and he's just throwing these poor, sad little punches. It's
Yeah, Kiviak basically throws a sack over his head so he can't see.
I hope
And
he can't
like,
disintegrate.
What? Did you say he casts Is that what he's doing?
That's what I would do if I was Lucius. I'm just saying. That's what I'd do.
I wonder who he would choose to disintegrate there. That would be interesting.
who does Lucius hold the most personal ire for? I don't know.
Or
Who's the first
most
person?
indifferent?
Yeah. Who's the first person who made the who joke about the crowd?
I don't know. Sanj, maybe?
Sorry, boss.
That's okay.
That's weird. Who's here to roll the madness die?
I was just
wonder where
thinking
he
that.
went.
He got sick of rolling low, so he just left.
Yeah,
He's gone
I'm not sure
idle
what's going on.
Discord, so I'm not sure.
Let's move on. Maybe he's gotten frustrated with hell. You somehow subdue Lucius. Perhaps you just put him in a sack and tie the sack up and just drag him around or something. But you find yourself at the edge of some kind of homestead or inn or hotel. That helps. So no trouble. Parked out the front of this homestead are a series of vehicles that have two wheels, one in the front, one behind, and the whole thing is connected by a metal structure that looks like you probably hang on and move the handlebars in which to gain some kind of direction. There's a lot of activity going on inside this domicile, this domain, the breaking of glass, the shouting of people, laughter and angriness, breaking of chairs. It sounds like there might be violence going on inside this establishment. In any case, you finally arrived.
Right. Looks like we finally found ourselves some rides, which relieve them of their owner.
Yes, definitely. I'm very frustrated. Taking it out on some devil sounds like fun.
I agree.
Poor Groovy's gone silent now. Even Groovy's got the shit. Groovy's sick of this adventure. Fuck this hell. I hate this place.
Nah, Hell's been pretty fine. Ravenloft sucked.
True.
Is there a
Fuck
door
Ravenloft.
to the building where the fighting noises are coming from?
There is a saloon-style door, so you're able to look inside before you kick those saloon doors in and walk into this 7-vehicle town, which is kind of like a one-horse town, but with more vehicles. So you go inside this this bar. There are prostitutes with little what are they called? Beauty spots on the side of their faces and high skorts and low bodices. There are men with big scars hanging out the side of their eyes and missing teeth playing cards as they keep them close to their chest. But most of all, there's 6 or 7 devils with writhing beards that are just threatening everyone and everything, taking the winnings, cheating at games, and threatening people like with pool cues and demanding drinks, and just causing general asses of themselves. And they all appear to be led by an individual who is dripping with chains. Nothing but chains that hang over his head and his shoulders and his legs. He reaches out with those chains and grabs a whiskey bottle off the top shelf and drags it towards him and sculls it down. That's what you walk in on.
And just to be clear, besides the 7 devils, everybody else is humanoid from what we can see?
Not humanoid. That there might be like tieflings or other strange creatures, but yes, there's no demons or
Non-fiendish.
devils. Yeah, one guy's probably undead. Yeah, he looks undead. He's got glowing eyes and a big broad cowboy cap, but he's keeping to himself.
Kiviak's never been more in his element. Like, he just like kicks the front door in, walks in, grabs a beer bottle off a table, and hucks it at the big guy.
You're sitting in my seat, you say as you throw your bottle at him, and all hell breaks loose. Let's roll for initiative.
I suppose we'll need to
Bar fight in hell. I love it.
It is pretty great.
Just wish Groovy was here to enjoy it too.
These devils are pretty quick off the starting block.
The rest of you probably have to run inside to help Keviak. They were already big kicking into him. Right, you. What? Who do you think you are? The bearded devils say as they leap on Keviak from all directions, including the ceilings. Like one's on the ceiling fan and it just leaps off it like a chandelier.
As if Keviak needs help. He could probably punch all these guys to death.
There are 6 of them. 6 beards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 glaives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, I see a 23.
They have disadvantage from the amulet of good protection from good.
Lol. So one gets a 21 is the highest then? Oh, 23.
Yeah, there's one double 23 there.
Oh, well done. 11 slashing. Does a 23 hit?
It does not.
Lol.
Can't even rely on crits because they all have disadvantage. Less than 5% chance to hit him.
Brilliant. Jastia, by the time you reach the window, you can see that they are wrapping their beards around him and stabbing him furiously, but he doesn't look scratched.
I like to think he's just standing there as they wail on him, and he's just taking it.
Yeah, it's just like the opening of every action movie ever, where like the hero just storms into the bar and like 8 goons jump on him and just can't.
That's it.
Well, I'm not gonna. I can't not join in, so I'll start shooting at one of the bearded. Just anyone at random. I'm not gonna. Should I? Yeah, I'm not gonna bother using hunter's mark. A 10 is not very good. 16 is
10.
better.
16 will do.
So that's 19. 22.
Not bad.
17. I just add that together.
Yeah,
61, I believe.
61 in total.
Yeah.
Alright, well that will get rid of it, yeah. One of them is immediately destroyed and his essence reassembles with the plane of Avernus itself.
That was probably overkill, but I'm still gonna direct all 3 bolts into one target just for fun. Alright.
And alright, so one has been popped. And without further ado, Sanj.
So the one fellow is obviously the leader of all these goons.
Well, he's got the chains and they've got the beards, so I don't know. Does chain make you tough? I think so.
I think it's so. Yeah, the fact that there's multiple of one and then singular of the other. I can put 2 and 2 together.
Looks like a hierarchy. Devils love hierarchies.
I calmly enter the bar, pull out my lodestone, and I just cast Disintegrate, the Chain Devil.
Lol.
DC 19 Dex save, I think it is.
19.
And I will give you some damage.
Yeah, give him some damage. Ooh, that is some damage.
He survives.
I look at the lodestone like it's fucking broken. What? Run back outside. Oh fuck! That's my turn.
So he still suffers the damage though, doesn't he?
Correct. Yeah.
Like doesn't need to reduce him to 0 or anything. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah,
So he's like it's just some flimsy chains being held together over a tiny little skeletal, skinny man. Yeah, that's all he's got left. Keviak.
Keviak's going to rage and charge the chain devil.
Roger.
And lay a swing into him with the iron con.
The Iron Concubine.
Say 28 hit.
28 will do.
12 damage.
Alright. 12 damage I think will be just enough to end it for him. What was it? 74 and 12? 86? Yeah, and Sanj reduces him to rust, and you shatter that rust into fragments and links.
Keviak turns around and grins at the bearded devil and he says, "Who the fuck's next?"
Get him, boys!
Keviak charges the guy who said, "Get him, boys," and stabs him.
15 will do.
18 damage.
Alright, not going to be enough, but he certainly doubles over with pain. Bring him down. Let's send his soul to... Well, we're here, to hell, where we already are. Yeah. Let's send his soul here, yeah. Aldrich, on a 7.
I'll just I'll command how do you pronounce her name? Arania?
Yeah, so she is an Arinyos. That's not her name, but she is an Arinyos, yeah.
Oh, could you get me a thingy for her?
Sure thing. Let's get an Arinyos. Oh, I don't even have one more beat of that up. Let's
I'm gonna
see.
tell her to attack, but I'm gonna just run in and just whoever's the closest person next to me, I'm just gonna beat them with the chain of
Yeah, she's already made up. Okay, just one moment. Aldrich, save. Alright. There she is.
I'm just gonna have her attack the nearest person too.
No problem. And the 16 will hit. So both your chain and one of her sword attacks are successful. Not sure if they're immune to poison. Not that it's probably going to matter a lot. Yep, immune to poison. Alright. So some grievous injuries, but these devils are still managing to hold their own, and there are still 5 of them remaining. Perhaps they can condemn one of you yet. Valeria, will you take part in this conflict?
Yeah, she will gladly kill some devils. I will stride forward and take 3 calculated strikes at the one that Keviak was just hitting a second ago.
Excellent.
26, 22, I assume 12 misses.
12 misses, but the others are good.
Yeah. Total of 29, 30, 61, I believe.
61? My goodness. Utter annihilation. And you force that soul from reforming here in Avernus and take it for your own.
And that's all I'm doing.
When they see the horrendous wound that you inflicted, Valeria, they know that their fate, if you should kill them, would be worse than they could ever imagine. And so the 4 of them all descend upon Valeria and attempt to make sure that she is not the one that finishes them.
Fair enough.
1, 2, 3, 4 beards, and 1, 2, 3, 4 glaives.
On the first attack that lands, I will use my reaction to cast Tomb of Levistus and a swirl of sand, much like originally she cast on the gift ship, swirls around her for a brief second before consolidating and kind of shifting into like the tomb that Han Solo was in Star Wars. I'm blanking on the actual name for that.
Yeah,
Carbonite.
Carbonite,
Carbonite, tomb, and just stays like that.
Awesome.
It absorbs 130 damage, so I assume it won't matter there.
Really? 130, that's absolutely incredible, because there's 2 critical hits in there, but yeah, it's not going to add up to 130, I can be sure of that. Brilliant.
That's all I'm done.
The bearded devils lose faith in their own ability to survive this encounter, Adrastia.
See if I can kill another one. I'll pick another one at random.
Easy.
40.
40's not going to be enough, but there are now 3 heavily injured of these devils. and only one of them that is still at full capacity.
Alright.
Mr. Sanj, there are 4, 3 of which are heavily injured.
4, 3 of which are heavily injured. Okay, I enter the saloon again now, putting that broken lodestone away. Let me see here. Okay. Are any of them arranged nicely in a line, or are they surrounding?
Sure, 2 of them.
2 of them? Yeah, sure. Lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Goo! Here it comes.
All right. Bam, bam. Ooh, one of them is destroyed instantly, but the other manages to only absorb a fraction of the damage that you produce.
Excellent. Let's stay in the bar now.
All right. Keviak, there are 3 left, all of them heavily injured at this point.
Yeah, Kiviak's gonna try to finish off the one he's currently tangling with.
Yeah. You send them flying across the table. It knocks off several of the glasses and the whiskey bottle, but you manage to catch the whiskey bottle before spilling a drop. So that was thankful for small mercies in hell.
Yeah, he rips the cork out and chugs as he takes his next swing.
Brilliant. The piano player breaks into piano.
Yeah, like he smashes the bottle over the devil's head with one hand and stabs him with the other. Another 13.
Another 13 damage, which will crush him open. That will be the end of that one. Shattered glass falls across the table where the gamblers are still gambling in spite of the bar battle going on around them.
Alright, that'll do it.
Are you here to help little old me? Says a whore to Aldrich as he enters the bar.
I just go up to her and right as I pretend to let her, but then I just cast Word of Radiance.
All right.
And then I get my Devil Wench to attack the remaining.
Brilliant.
Damn, she sucks.
Alright, give these constitution saves, but I don't think it's going to matter at this point. They're pretty heavily injured. 1, 2. And one of them has survived just in time for Valeria to finish this farce.
I can't do anything. I'm entombed for my whole turn, so.
Alright. Even up to the next turn?
It ends this turn, like right at the end of my turn. They can hurt me again.
Oh, okay, cool. And so he makes a break for it. He tries to get outside so we can jump on his devil ride and get the fuck out of there. Does anyone have an attack of opportunity?
If it ended at the end of her turn and she ran past him, she should technically, shouldn't she?
Sure.
Sure. 26 for 28.
Oh, he has 3 hit points left. He runs outside and starts up his vehicle. Chucks a soul coin in there.
Kiviak tries to chase him and fling a javelin if he can.
Alright, throw that
I've got-
javelin.
And
Yeah, go for it.
I'll give him a 2nd level magic missile too. It's 120 feet range.
This guy is rat shit.
I was gonna say, you wouldn't get far over 400-foot range.
And before he can even drive off, he is slain and his head falls down on the steering wheel, the handlebars. as the Devil's Ride idles. There are 7 of these vehicles parked outside.
7, nice. So somebody's gonna have to double up.
Problem
Can I-
for next session.
Ah,
Your friend can ride with me, Aldrich.
Oh yeah, there's 2 people gonna have to double up.
can
Okay.
I get you anything to drink? Asks the bartender, who is a twisted tiefling with hooved feet and a spindly little beard. He smells like rotten fish and bathwater.
Can Valyria check these devils for any soul coins?
I
Yeah.
help with that too.
You find a
Sorry.
total of 1d12 plus 6 soul coins.
Fantastic. 12 soul coins. Easy.
Nice.
I will split them up between the group. So everybody gets 2 soul coins.
Okay.
Everybody that's here anyway. Everybody that's not here doesn't count. I don't care about you.
Yeah, I think there's a rule involving carrying lots of soul coins, but I don't think it'll be relevant since most of the party is probably evil aligned.
Chaotic neutral, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Neutral good, I think.
I'm lawfully, so I mean I can carry any amount.
Hey guys, we can ride the river Styx now. Easy. Not that we need to since we have bikes.
Yep.
Anyway.
Oh my god, am I about to finally use proficiency in land vehicle?
How good is that? So the bartender tiefling, he wants to know if you want anything, if you need a place to stay, if you want drinks or drugs or men or women. You want to do some gambling. You want to hang out in the library. You want a bath. They have baths. If you want to do pit fights, they've got a pit that you can fight people in for fun or profit. Anything that you want. What do you say?
Do we need to rest, gentlemen, or shall we continue?
Not sure. We probably roughed Lucius up a little bit, trying to restrain him. So
I
maybe
think we just throw a Hessian sack over his head.
Why don't we? We'll keep him with you, Keviak, just in case.
Just put him in the side bag.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, exactly. The little like side carriage things. Not that these happen, but you know. I don't think I need anything. I'm good to go if we want to keep moving.
Aye.
All right. Well, before you do go, one of the patrons offers to buy you all a drink. He's a giant hippopotamus that wears a pirate's captain's hat.
Same bloke we saw in the I forget the name of the restaurant. Sandra remembers.
yeah.
I forget it.
Same race, but different clothing. So could be a change of clothing, or might just be a completely different guy.
Okay.
All giant hippo people with guns look the same. He offers to buy everyone a drink if they're interested.
Yeah, but what is
I don't trust hell booze.
What do you actually want?
Oh, well, actually, I'm a buccaneer. I'm looking for a crew to head out on me spelljammer to go and mine some moon silver in a faraway land called the Tears of Saloon. I see you can hold yourself in a fight. I figure that you'd be a mighty fine crew to take out and do a bit of adventuring with. mining out on distant worlds.
I'm afraid we have important business to attend to here. I appreciate the offer, and in any other circumstance, I might join you.
I mean, I'm considering it. All we have to do is leave your parents in hell, and like we can totally turn this into a space.
I can't speak for anyone else, but thank you, but no thank you.
Which would completely change the campaign in completely, totally different directions. I decide to check out your new motorbike instead.
While they're talking to the pirate captain, I would like to inquire with the bartender, or I think it was the bartender, who asked us if we needed anything. Do you have any children here for sale or use?
Excuse me, any children?
Yes.
Are you wanting to purchase them permanently or just borrowing them for a while?
Well, you said you cater to every need. I was not sure how depraved exactly you were willing to cater to.
I'm sorry, we don't do that here. We have some
Excellent. You
mighty
just earned your
fine-
life. And I say excellent, you earned your life, and I just turn around.
Come again. I hope to see you once more.
Okay. I'm good.
Can we just jack his spelljammer?
I was just checking and seeing if he was like having a child sex ring or some bullshit. I don't know.
Totally. Like, yeah.
He said he said he catered to anything, and we're in hell. So who the fuck knows?
Exactly. This is like I fully understand.
What we learned here is that even evil has standards.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is lawful evil hell. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. So who's sharing?
I have to admit, I am not at all confident in commandeering one of these vehicles, and would really appreciate if someone would drive me.
Last time I commandeered a vehicle, it ended up crashed and jacked by fucking space lizards or bug people. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass.
Righto.
I'll take one, and you can sit on the back of mine if you like, Sanj.
Sure.
Alright. So having sorted out who's riding which one, I'm pretty sure that Farah's riding one. And I reckon that if he gets a chance, then Zebra would head out on the highway as well.
All backseat Zephyr.
We are now officially on the highway to hell.
Brilliant. And now hell becomes somewhat more tolerable. You're in control of your own destiny once again. You're still subjected to the elements, but you're defying them at the same time. And with a slightly less heaviness in our hearts, what do we do next?
We're trying to get to Arkan, right?
Arkan's Tower. Does this mean, we're going to eventually have to cross the river at some point?
Or we could deal with a special mall train, whatever the fuck that is.
Yes, or if we want to push our luck, you'd head to that encampment we learned of and steal even more machines. Larger machines, more powerful ones.
Do we need those? I mean, these are just for transportation.
Well, when we get to the river, we have a coin to pay the ferryman now.
It's true. I suppose the question is, although he's not here right now, how satisfied is Lucius with these bikes? Since that seemed to be the primary purpose in obtaining them. Beyond transportation, as Caveat pointed out. We head north for now. I think that's a safe, like, regardless of anything else, we're
Yeah.
heading north along the stick.
Yeah.
I'm
All
not
right.
getting on any ferry that's not big enough to fit this bike on it.
Brilliant. All right. Um. So yeah, no, we head north. There are no days. Hours don't have any meaning. Even distance doesn't really have a meaning either. Um. You're coming up towards what is either a tributary or a lake. You could potentially cross it. It's unknown distance, probably about 300 feet, but it could be 1,000 feet by the time you try to jump it. Maybe it enlarges itself. Who bloody knows? In any case, if you're not intending to jump over it, you're going to have to go around it, and that means taking a pretty significant detour. We could call it east and west, but it might be better to call it Stickswood and Anti-Sticks.
Probably best to take the sticks route, unless it's significantly more challenging.
And try and make our way through this like mountainous pass.
Or we could get a ferryman to
Oh,
ferry us around and have to abandon the bikes.
do you really want to do that though, Keviak? I know you don't really want to do that.
I don't. I really, really don't.
By the way, I'm driving a bike too, and am I able to command the devil to drive a bike?
Absolutely. She's a badass biker bitch from hell. She'll show any of you up. You're all clad in leather, no helmet, black hair, flapping in the wind, wings behind her, like she's like an angel from Triple M's.
Does your woman know her way around this place?
I look at her and say, "Speak, wench."
Yes, master. Yes, I know my way well enough around Avernus. I have been here for 10,000 years or more.
I
Then
suppose
you
we could
lead
just
the shortest way to Arkham.
Yes, master. And she's going to take off in this direction. All right. And so we blister on. Yep.
Just a bait.
All right. So, assuming that we follow her, because I'm not getting a lot of responses.
Yeah.
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Back
Sorry.
in onward with address here.
All right.
I'm not driving the bike, so I'd assume Zevram would follow.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. So we head out across this blasted, twisted landscape with fields of broken glass and lakes filled with nothing but ash and tears. And we drive over entire plains where rib cages and skulls are exposed and been bleached and burned by years of fire and blistering sandstorms. And so we make our way through this blasted, twisted terrain, and it's going to take us several days to get there. Do we have enough provisions to make it, or are we relying on magic? How many days of provisions have we got?
I have 0.
I have create water available with the quadric.
The water tastes like piss, literally tastes like urine.
I have 20 days rations in my bag of holding.
You're doing good. You're doing good. What are your rations like? Jerky and nuts and
dried fruit.
Perfect.
I'm
Probably
able to
dwarven
create
ale.
45 pounds of food and 30 gallons of water.
The food comes out as maggoty bread, writhing with weevils, or this thin porridge that is almost entirely salt. The water comes out dirty and smelling like piss. Do you eat it and drink it?
Kevy, actually feel like sharing.
Feel free. Oh, now you want my booze.
No, just the rations.
Do you have enough water, Keviak, or have you just got rations?
If you buy a day's rations, I think it comes with water.
Okay.
Also, with my brewer supplies, can I try to like clean and distill the water we've created?
That's an excellent idea, and you can. It never loses the flavor, though.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, he'll just make it into ale. It tastes like piss anyway.
Alright. It sustains you. You get the enough nutrients and hydration to keep going, but it's among the most disturbing and disgusting meals that you've had to endure, and you eat this for 5 days as you cross the wasteland. And eventually, you end up at a bubbling pool, a bubbling pit that is all green slime that seems to reach up and try to escape the pit. You hear whispering coming from within this abyss. 5 days after we initially set out. It's up to you whether you want to listen to the words of that or not.
Sorry, the blubbering abyss is doing what now? Sorry. Repeat
So
it one
you've
more
got
time.
you've got this pit, a blubbering pit of green ichor. It's spanned by a stone bridge, and you can hear whispering coming up rising up from within the pit. But it's indiscernible unless you really try to strain your ear and understand it.
Well, sure. I will try to listen. Not like initially. I just want to see like if I can recognize the language being spoken. But yeah.
Infernal.
Okay. I am not interested anymore.
All right.
I do my best to shut it out. I'm gonna occupy myself like going over like spell equations and so on just in my head.
Brilliant. All right. You pass on over the pit of Shumrath and we go over the causeway or the bridge that spans it, and you pass within sight of a tall obelisk that is perched atop a massive crumbling staircase. There appears to be a wizard trapped within, or at least attending the obelisk on top of this statue, this cliff. Does anyone have any interest in climbing these 1,000 steps to get to the top of this cliff face to interact with a wizard that we've never seen before?
Poor fool, probably pissed someone off. I'm good.
I mean, it'd be cool to like do a sweet trick and ride my motorcycle up the stairs. I might just do it and not talk.
He's definitely got a wish scroll in his pocket. I'm not interested though.
If that were the case, he wouldn't be there.
Kiviak just satisfies himself with doing a wheel.
All right, you do a magnificent wheelie, and when you get to the top of the staircase, the wizard calls out to you, "Stop, friend! Won't you help me to escape my prison? I will give you great riches and power for helping me in my dire situation."
Kiviak turns around and drives back down the stairs.
Fuck you, buddy! No, fuck you, buddy!
Fuck you!
No, fuck you!
It's Rick. He's tracked. It's Rick.
And you get back to down
I've
to the
trapped
base of the
myself
boat.
in a furnace, Morty! I've trapped myself in a furnace!
Fuck.
Alright. So you reach the base of the obelisk, and there it is, the grandeur of the river Styx, like hundreds of feet wide, spanning across the vast distance of this blasted landscape. Well, that is the easiest way to reach Arkan's tower, informs your devil companion, would be to fly from here.
Does
Brent's
she
a
know? Go ahead. Sorry, what? What
I
did you
said
say?
Brent's a shit navigator. Sorry.
Gotcha. I mean, hey, she got us this far. Does your friend know how to call the boatman? If that was what we wanted to do. I say to Aldrich.
I ask her. I tell her to answer, and also Arctic. Just I don't know if it's just for future if anything tries to sneak up. She does have 120 feet of true sight.
120 feet of true sight, that's magnificent. I'm glad you let me know. But yeah, unfortunately, you've told her not to tell her anything, so she'll probably just let it sneak up onto her.
It's funny.
You may speak freely now.
There are none who command the mezzolots of the river Styx. You must simply wait for them to come with their ferries.
That sounds horrible.
It's hell, that's kind of the point.
That's true. Good point. So do we fly or wait?
How tall is the tower? Sorry, Arctic.
Arkan's tower. It's far away at this stage. We can't see it,
Oh, I
but
see.
the river Styx is probably 300 feet wide. But we've already noticed that things can be deceiving, and 300 feet could become 3,000 feet just because it did.
I tried a dimension door over the river Styx, and instead I landed inside of it and died instantly. Cautionary tale of an adventure.
So we'll fly
I
across.
survived
and
hell.
It means we have to leave the bikes here, but I can get us across, I think.
Oh, I got something that's worth a shot. Kiviak digs around in the bag of holding and produces the trident hand.
Produces
Make
the
a
what?
fish appear out of the river Styx to give us a ride across.
Oh.
What did the trident of fish command? Alright, like a baby kraken comes up to the shore and says, "Hi, you want to ride? Let's go."
Yeah, can you take my motorcycle?
Sure thing.
Do any fish respond to Kiviak's call for aid?
So is this serious? You do actually get the trident out and try to command the river Styx's denizens? Alright, yeah, a plesiosaur comes up and does it get a saving throw or something, or does it just automatically fire?
I think it lets me cast like dominate creature on any kind of aquatic.
Alright, well let's see, there's probably the stats for plesiosaurs here. Monster, Plesiosaurus, I thought so. Won't take long. Oh, we won. Alright, that's This looks like it's going to be a failure, whatever it is. The Plesiosaurus is under your domination.
Quickly, take this bike and take it to the other side of the river.
The Plesiosaurus opens its mouth and gently picks up the bike and carries it over to the other side of the river.
Alright, now we can fly over.
What about the rest of the bikes?
I mean, I got mine.
Keviak doesn't care for your bike.
I mean, I'll take over as many as we can.
Right. My question then is, who can handle themselves a flight? Keviak, I'm aware that you can.
Aye.
Lucius has the spell available, though. So I'll say that if it's all the same with you, Arctic, I imagine he'd be able to cover himself. I'm happy to upcast fly to get everybody else over, including Zevram and so on. So what is that like? So what? Zevram, myself, Adrastia, Aldrich, and Valeria is 5. Which would make it a third, fourth. Is it a 6th level cast? I think it would be. Hang on a sec. Sorry, I'm like freaking out here.
3 for 1, right?
It's at 3rd level. I get 3 people, and it goes up by 1 for each higher slot. And I think there's 5 of us that need to fly.
That would be 5.
So a 5th level spell slot to cast fly on the 5 of us that can't get themselves over.
Sounds right.
Done.
Excellent.
And the 300-foot sticks becomes 1,000-foot sticks, but you have managed to fly from one side to the other without getting so much as splashed. Congratulations.
Just out of curiosity, did it actually seem longer than 300 feet, or was it seemingly accurate from what we...
It seemed to be 3 times the distance. It ended up being about 1,000 feet.
Okay, that's good to know.
Okay, so that's just the general rule as hell, is nothing is as close as it looks.
Seems like it from what we can tell.
Which I guess fits the theme, is like, you know, you always like lowball how far away something is, so it sucks.
It also is a good reference for the deal.
Yeah, literally. Like, it looks a mile away, you know it's a mile away, yet you also know it's actually like 5 miles.
Go play them mind tricks with yourself. Alright. Harkins Tower. Once you land on the far side of the River Styx, it does not take long before you are assailed. You are assailed by dragons and creatures that ride dragons. You're assailed by zombies, not by the 100, but by the 1,000. There is an army here so large that you cannot possibly triumph over it. The Abashi are a type of devilish dragon hybrid that are stronger than many fully grown dragons, and they blot out the sky with their numbers. You've seen the forces of hell so far, but this is the first legion, the first army of hell that you've seen. And if you could imagine a force that contains 20 dragons just as its aerial support, in addition to the thousands of zombies, then you've got some inkling of what a futile effort it would be to attempt to conquer these lands. And yet here you are. Under what pretense are you coming? Under what authority? It would appear that you've violated some kind of pact or agreement, or you're about to when you prepare to land on this far side of the River Styx. Are you ready for the implications of these dragons? Or do you prefer to get 3/4 of the way there, 9/10 of the way, about to touch down, and then you're like, fuck, let's go home. Let's go back to the other side of the River Styx where things were a little more safe.
We could try to sneak past them.
Did they see us already or no? From what we can tell.
It seems that there are watchers on the river Styx, great winged beasts flying up in the air, and the fact that you've seen them indicates that they may very well have seen you. We all know how legendary dragons are with their perception. It's conceivable that they would know you're here, and unlikely they would not.
Valyria will approach, or continue flying forward.
Alright. You are inevitably assailed by an Abashi, a white dragon that's been combined with devilish features. You can Google him if you want. I'll crash if I try to show you a picture.
Once I think he's within hearing range, I will shout out in common. I am Valyria. I am here to speak with Arkan.
Do you understand the Draconic tongue?
Nope.
Arkan, it says. By what right, it says in the common tongue, do you make such a demand?
Right of might. I seek to find a mutual agreement between us.
The right of might. You would dare claim to be mighty enough to face Arkan as an equal?
No. I claim to be mighty enough to be useful to Arkan.
Intrigued, they let you pass. And they take you to Arkan's Tower, which is a tall, five-spired black building surrounded by a central spire. However, while during the procession which takes you there, where you're flanked by thousands of zombies now, with a sky filled with the bat-like wings of small dragons and the Apache. Are we all going together? Do we feel confident to put ourselves at such a perilous position that we would be flanked on all sides, including above, by an army?
I think it's too late to turn back now. And I pray that this Arkan fellow is willing to listen to us.
Alright. When you reach their tower, that gaunt black edifice I described with 5 pillars around a central pillar, when the drawbridge comes down, it's not the legendary dragonborn Arkan the Cruel who steps out, but rather an extremely strange turtle, a death turtle that is engraved into his shell, into his spiky shell, runes and sigils committed to death and to Tiamat and to draconic supremacy. And this turtle death priest wanders out and says, I trust that you are wasting my time. Now die. And prepares to cast some kind of death spell on the entire party.
I assure you we mean well and come to offer our service to Arkan in the hopes of reaching some agreement.
Valyria will counterspell if he does try to cast a spell, but I won't do any other antagonizing moves, I suppose. Like, no, I'm not reaching for a sword or anything, but go ahead.
Excellent. It takes all the strength that you've got to counter this 7th level Death Wave spell, but you do hold it off through, the might of the Pale Lady, if nothing else. And your resistance causes him time to pause and negotiate. And he says, what could you possibly have to offer Arkan the Cruel?
Firstly, powerful magic, as my companion here has just shown. Secondly, We are aware of the situation here in Avernus. In terms of, well, the one that you serve, her situation.
The delicate balance, one might say.
We had hoped to speak and treat with Arkan as a means of mutual gain, both short and long term.
Do you have any among you who are pure of soul? Good of heart, noble.
Step forward.
I do not believe that you would suffice. Arkan requires the life force of the pure, of the innocent, of the uncorrupted but powerful. Should you find a being that fits this description, and if you would be willing to sacrifice its life and its soul to our cause, then I will consider allowing you to disturb Arkham from his studies.
Is a celestial pure enough for you, Total Man?
Yes, a celestial would be perfect.
I'm gonna conjure celestial.
Alright. So one of the bound angels that got trapped during some infernal raid into Leviathar's realm has remained her prisoner for centuries, for thousands of years. And you summon this innocent, blonde, virgin being, pure of soul and of heart and of presence. And she appears bound in chains. You present this lesser angel. Yes, that shall be perfect. And
How
he
is
takes
that
the
a
chains.
true fee?
Sorry?
Oh, I just said, how is that as a true fee?
That is perfect. And he takes the chained angel and he calls down a great white dragon, which lands in front of him, which he mounts, and he drags the angel up on top of the dragon with him. And when he takes flight, come, he says to you, and he flies off into the distance towards a monumentally sized draconic skull which lies to the north. It's so large it can only be like a naturally occurring mountain which has been carved. It couldn't possibly be a creature's actual skull, could it? No creature has a head as large as a mountain, does it? Who knows? But in any case, this Tortle, this death priest, climbs atop his dragon, flies off towards the north with the bound Celestial, and leaves you in the company of 2,000 zombies.
Anyone else curious why a turtle is worshipping a dragon god?
Who knows?
It's hell.
Definitely curious.
Good
but
point.
Yeah, precisely. We've seen stranger things. Anyway, I think it means for us to make our own way, so perhaps we should oblige it. And I will cast Fly again if necessary.
Alright. Keviak's still riding, he's still got his bike, the rest of you are flying or making your other way there. And you
Can I
reach
piggyback on the devil woman, or is she not strong enough to do that?
She's exceedingly strong. I think they're like strength 18, I'm pretty sure. Exceedingly strong. And she will bear you like a mount. Alright. You fly into the shadow of this huge bone edifice, this titanic skull. And Emerging from within the maw of this skull comes a dragonborn paladin, a warrior, tall and strong with a tremendous great axe. However, he looks sickly. He's sweating and shivering, which is odd for a creature that is a reptile, right? And Arkin looks like he can barely walk straight without toppling over from weakness or disease or something. And it would appear that the source of this infection is his right hand. He's a red dragonborn, red scales all over, but his right hand is greenish, like the color of gangrene. And it doesn't look like his own hand at all. It kind of looks like he's taken a human hand, attached it to his own arm, and now the gangrene is eventually going to kill him. And so that's the juxtaposition that you see when Arkan wanders out and Cruel kneels before him, the turtle, the death turtle. And how do the rest of you respond as this paladin approaches, fighting the hand that threatens to kill him?
Sanj follows the lead of the turtle and bows.
Valeria gives a curt nod, but otherwise is standing stoically.
Likewise.
I ain't the
How about a
kowtowing
cigar?
type.
One lights a cigar, and what was that, Keviak?
Kibiak ain't the kowtowing type.
No worries. So only Sanj kneels, and the rest of you barely acknowledge his presence. My lord, says the turtle, these strangers have brought you a gift that will sustain your life longer. Very good, says the dragonborn, and he leans forward, and with his ganger in his hand, he grabs the back of the hair, the base of the neck of the angel, and blinding light begins to shine as she disintegrates before your very eyes, turning first into a skull with withered skin, her eyes wasting away, then finally turning to dust and ash and blowing away on the wind. When the ritual is consumed after roughly a minute of horror, Arkan looks stronger. It looks like his hand is not fighting him anymore. He stops sweating and gains his composure. Thank you, travelers. I am at your disposal. What brings you to the monument of Tiamat? And how do you intend to serve the Queen of Dragons?
Arkin, we have heard tales of the champion of Tiamat. It is good to lay eyes upon you. My name is Sanj. These are my companions. We have personal business here on the plane involving the living labyrinth. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Yes, the living labyrinth. It is not far from here.
I am also aware of the fact that a delicate balance resides amongst the power struggle here between Zariel, Bell, and, well, your patron.
Zariel has recently captured a mortal city, but it is unlikely she will be able to hold it against the demons which seek to seize it for their own.
Our business does not involve us directly with Zariel. Rather, we think that perhaps we might be able to perhaps place Zariel in a disadvantageous position. We believe that this in turn might improve matters for you and yours. We seek a tedious agreement of sorts. Our business here will directly affect this power balance here in Avernus, and we believe you might benefit from that.
Perhaps we would. Yet, my ambitions do not lie in Avernus, but in the prime material worlds. I wonder if you would extend the influence of Tiamat in the prime material plane.
In what way specifically are you speaking?
Tiamat wishes to see the mortal world with her own eyes. She wishes to manifest in the worlds across the multiverse. You would aid in this conquest of the prime material plane.
I feel we must be clear. Our situation and our goals do not necessarily align. You would probably be aware of that. However, the situation stands to be one more a case of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, no? We are aware of the tense struggle between Tiamat, Bel, and Zariel on this plane. I mean to say that the next few steps of our personal goals here would be of direct aid to you. And I suppose we are asking, perhaps there is something that you could do for us to better enable this change.
Tell me what it is that you want.
I will be forthright with you as a gesture of my goodwill. There are prisoners kept in that living labyrinth. Namely 3 specifically that we wish to break free. Rescue, if you will. Truth be told, we have no idea, quite simply, what we're walking into. It would do us good to know what we can expect. Perhaps secret entrances, perhaps anything of the sort, plans, strength in arms, perhaps a distraction, if that is something that you might be able to offer.
Yes, I can offer you all of these, but the price is not free.
Is there anyone you would wish freed from the labyrinth? Anybody that could aid your cause?
Tiamat whispers to me. She does wish to see one freed, a noble soul held against its will in a foreign land by lesser creatures. Would you be willing to free this child who is oppressed, lonely, and without guidance? Would you bring it on yourself to free this child?
Totally talking about the red dragon we've got. Yeah.
Of whom do you speak?
And where?
The captive is your own. You keep them trapped and isolated, unexposed to their own culture or their own kind. And you dare to come to Tiamat, asking her for assistance, when you keep Tiamat's own children as your personal servants and slaves?
Out of character, does anybody know who he's talking about?
Out of character,
You don't, but
Lucius
yeah.
and I may have hatched a red dragon egg. May
Oh
have,
yeah, I remember.
yeah,
Gotcha,
may
gotcha.
have that. Yeah, so that's kind of what. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, cool.
Free this child, and all that you seek, I shall provide.
It's too bad Lucius isn't here.
He's not going to
He'd
like
say
this.
no.
Hmm. Let me see what I can do. I know I personally am prepared to oblige, as I think it only fair. So, my homunculus and my simulacrum are both in Waterdeep. The homunculus will perhaps write or somehow, if possible, communicate to the simulacrum
Uh-huh.
to go about making those arrangements.
The red dragon is freed.
Just out of character. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but I do know that Bing One had some plans for that dragon. I'm not sure if that. Pretty sure they were integral to his long scheme, like wizard, mightiest person on Earth plans or something. At least from what he was telling me in Loin last week. But I don't know. You guys do you.
Yeah, I don't know. He hasn't really spoken to me about it. And given the current situation, yeah.
Want to add him in the chat real quick? And,
Yeah, I mean, out of character, yeah, I feel like a bit, I don't want to completely make the call, but he's not here, so I don't know what to do.
Oh yeah, I hear you. I just wanted to make sure you had that information. That's at least what I remember.
I know he's.
But, I mean, you guys do you. I'm not gonna pass judgment.
Yeah, I know he's got some grand scheme for immortality, but I don't know if the dragon is. I am not aware of whether or not the dragon is integral to that.
Do we want to ping him in the chat real quick to see if he'll weigh in?
Go ahead.
I
Yeah.
think we did, about like 10 to 2, and there's been nothing since.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm suitably neutral on the affair.
Yeah, definitely see why it'd be a bit iffy.
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, I'm not exactly comfortable making this decision right now, but yeah, like I've said, he's not here, so I don't know. And it's not like we can hit pause on the game and wait for a response, because we'll probably wait till, next week, or at least later today.
There's about 15 minutes left of the session, so it's not too much longer.
All right. Well, shall we leave that as a open question, or do you want to free the dragon? What should we do?
If Arkin is prepared to let us discuss, then sure. Like, maybe we could do that privately.
I suppose so good.
That was kind of my point. That was it. Yeah, nothing to add.
I was gonna say that I guess to quote unquote fill the time, Valyria would be interested just for the sake of full knowledge. What prime material plane specifically is Tiamat interested in? Toril is somewhat vested interest for us. The others, at least for myself, not so much.
An attempt was made on Toril, and it failed. It shall not be Toril.
Well, that's good. She has no interest in the immediate term then in Toril. Long term?
It is a historical fact that Tiamat's attempt to enter the world of Toro was foiled. She shall not try again in the immediate vicinity.
Valeria will hold up a finger to Arkin for a second, and then turn to the rest of the group and kind of whisper, "How strict are your moral qualms about dooming other worlds?"
Fascinating to think that we hold such power.
Speaking on a grandiose term here, but possibly.
My goals are
mean,
my own, and I like to
mean-
see them accomplished. I'll say no
I
more
mean,
on
I'm
the
not
matter.
much of a moralist, but that is pretty much a moral no going back point.
Well, frankly, I don't care what happens to other worlds, but empowering an entity like Tiamat, it seems only inevitable that she'll use her newfound powers to invade other worlds and eventually Toril.
Eventually, but who's to say we'll be around at that point? Or
I
that
don't-
somebody else will have already taken her over, who knows? I'm just saying it's a possibility. It's something to consider.
To consider.
How exactly would we assist in bringing Tiamat to the prime material? If that
You would-
was the assistance you chose, or we chose.
It would remain to be seen, but you would play a crucial role in the Dragon Wars.
That sounds long term, and yeah, long term is not really going to work.
Very well. Then you would play a crucial role in a single battle, a decisive battle.
What of your hand, Arkin? Forgive me if I am speaking beyond my means, but are you ill? Cursed, perhaps? Is that something that we might be able to help you with?
My hand is an alien device that is consuming my life force, and yet I refuse to relinquish it. Should you be able to sustain me with more creatures, such as the one that you provided, creatures of purity, unicorns and fairies, and angelic beings, things of light and of life, then I may be able to unlock the secrets of this device, he says, looking at his hand, before it consumes me.
How easy, we just assault heaven. That was out of character, by the way.
Indeed, go and do some slaving in Mount Celestia. That is Planescape to the max.
How long have you been here, Arkin? If you don't mind me asking.
I have returned from my work in the prime material plane recently. I constructed my tower, he says, gesturing back towards the tower in the distance, and I have been in direct service and contact to my goddess for only a short period of time as mortals measure things.
You said your goals lie outside Avernus, and primarily serving Tiamat, but as you are here now, is there any benefit you could gain from seeing Zariel or Bel be felled or hindered in any way? Any fortress you are trying to occupy? Army you are trying to destroy?
My queen is patient and rarely involves herself in the petty bickering that the other lords consume themselves with. However, we have an agreement that there shall not be any who set foot along the northern edge of the river Styx, and these pacts have been violated in recent times. While my forces remain concentrated, while Tiamat's forces remain concentrated here in the shadow of the monument, perhaps you can deliver her justice to those interlopers who have dared to set up fortifications and bring their armies onto the northern shore in violation of our agreements.
What figures specifically have violated these agreements? Zariel or others?
Others, ambitious pit fiends who believe that they can rise through the ranks by undermining their betters.
That also sounds like a viable option.
If it means we establish a greater foothold and aid you indirectly by doing so, then perhaps it is worth our consideration.
Very good.
Yeah, out of character. I think we're kind of at a point that requires more input from more people. But
Sounds good.
that's just my thought.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm inclined to agree. I sort of wanted to present that final piece of information just to give a little bit more, maybe food for thought, but I do agree that when you're down 3 people, you're probably going to want to talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, I do think as a party we're at a bit of a not necessarily a crossroads, but we do have like a number of different kind of avenues we can explore.
I think the 3 options specifically that I understand for quote unquote assisting him: A, destroy pit fiends; B, release the red dragon; C, release Tiamat on prime material in some way, shape, or form, indirect. Am I missing any?
That sounds about right. Yeah, yeah. Or not
Or
work
not
with them at
B,
all.
yeah, don't work with them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you think we could assassinate a pit fiend?
You cut off there at the end. I assume you mean kill a pit fiend or something.
Yeah, do you think we could assassinate a pit fiend?
Several pit fiends from what he said, I think. But I mean, probably.
With the power of friendship, we're able to accomplish anything.
The
That's
power of
tough.
friendship and the sword that can steal double souls. Yeah.
That's it. So I would like to, on one hand, apologise for an enduring not problematic. They're just a session that was designed to test your patience and make you feel
No, you're
upset.
fine.
Hell, this shit of a place. So I hope that you enjoyed hating it.
It certainly put us through the ringer. I've been uncomfortable since we arrived.
It's
I
hard to
had fun the whole time.
describe. It's hard to describe a place as uncomfortable as Avernus is supposed to, especially when you're somewhat constrained by 5e mechanics. I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I enjoyed it.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for anyone who might have, for some reason, listened to this at home on your favorite YouTube channel. And I shall see you all in a week's time.
Alright.
Ciao.
Ciao.